Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Headspace Podcast. It's episode 80. That's right, the 80th, excluding all our bonuses. My name is HSR.
My name is Chris Chrome.
And we're going to talk about an album tonight. But before we get to that, it's some housekeeping.
Well, technically 2 albums.
Well, yeah, but you can skip this little housekeeping section. You can see when the episode starts in the description below. So we're going to start by thanking Mozart and Mandel William, our patrons, and we'll talk about that a bit more at the end of the episode if you like what you see here. We are also going to go ahead and talk about our favorite comment of last week's episode on Styles' piece,
The
G-Host.
only comment on last week's episode.
Because Lindell Williams will be there for us. I think he knows deep down inside that if he comments on like all of them, even though he might just like them all, that like we'll read a lot of his comments.
Feels part of the team.
All of the commentary about this album was fair nowadays. That is going to be very few artists that can keep your interest through a full album. However, the content and rhymes were pretty good because Styles' piece pretty fucking lyrical.
Yep.
The sound production just needed a little more oomph on some of the songs. He was trying to be old school. And it surprised me that with all of his connections, I'm sure that it wasn't something that was worked on more. I think he did it on purpose, Lindell. I think he was trying to recreate the old sounds.
I agree.
As far as in fact, I bet there were people trying to tell him to modernize, and he said, "Fuck that shit." And then as far as the siren sound on that one song, it was a common sound in the rap songs in the early 90s. Thanks, you just proved my point, Linda. And I was even more surprised as to why he would choose such an early piece of sound production, but overall a good listen, and I think he's just trying to live that the golden age is better and by making it again. And I don't hate what Styles P did there. I think it's a really good approach to the situation if you're dissatisfied with it. My hairline got fucked up in my bike accident. This was my solution, if anyone was wondering. We're going to talk about this album now, track by track. We're going to go through it and give our opinions. We are obviously not the most astute hip-hop heads, but we are folk on the ground learning how to understand and appreciate the culture as we go. And through your comments and your interactions, it helps us. So we just look forward to hearing what you have to say as well through this. On that note, Mr. Christopher, why don't you introduce the first, of the 2 albums we're going to talk about tonight?
Yeah. Well, the first album we're going to talk about tonight is Kids See Ghost, self-titled album, Kids See Ghost.
Yes, and we're also going to talk about the other one, but just to give a little explanation, we don't really do a lot of short albums like this, so given that Kanye decided to release 5 7-track albums like back-to-back, week-to-week to week.
Did the Tatiana's?
No, that comes out next week.
Okay.
So we felt that the smartest way for us to approach this and maintain our format then would be to just grab 2 of these short ones and do them. So we already did Daytona and Ye a couple weeks back, and now that the next 2 have come out, we're going to do Kids See Ghost, and the other one we'll get to later on in the episode. So if you are here for one or the other one, in the description you will see, like I said, all the timestamps, so you can skip one if you only care about one of the 2 projects.
Perfect.
So Kids See Ghost is Kanye West and Kid Cudi, who beefed and are now friends again. That's how that's a really simplified version of it.
Oh, they beefed.
They
beefed after
some crap.
I remember listening to Heartbreak, and then after that they started beefing, and then I kind of fell off Kid Cudi a little bit.
So Kanye West, we're quite familiar with. We've covered College Dropout. We talked about him a lot there. We talked about him last week or 2 weeks ago when we did Ye.
Well, Ye, Common, the Common B album.
So we've had a fair bit of Kanye exposure, especially of late, we'll say.
Right.
Kid Cudi, my whole experience with him, and what we're trying to do here is just let you know how connected we are to the artist ahead of time, because sometimes people wonder why we do them.
Little bit.
That song.
It up.
So there's that. I think that's Pursuit of Happiness, and I really like the MGMT remix or cover to the song, and I really like Day and Night.
Yes, that's what I was actually trying to go for.
And, Day and Night's really cool. Day and Night's one of those songs that it's really easy to find yourself connecting to it. Then I know he checked himself into some mental institution for a situation, and I knew that's about it. I don't really know Kid Cudi, but everybody seems to be like, I missed Kid Cudi. I'm so happy he's back, and I'm just here kind of like, well, I don't understand, but here I am trying to give Kid Cudi. So I knew
of Rory.
I knew that he was kind of spacey. I mean, there's that classic line in Bad and Bougie, like Spaced Out Kid Cudi or whatever, which was, you know, like...
Well, because he's got an album called Man on the Moon.
Okay.
Right?
And I get
So
the
he's
sense
got
that he
whole-
likes drugs and spacey sounds. So I assume that that's what I was going to get a fair bit of on this project. But
Well, also, let's take into consideration, Ye just dropped Ye, and it's talking about his bipolarism.
Right.
And also Kid Cudi, he deals with mental illness as well. Like, a lot of his, it's not just that he enjoys doing drugs, he's also, like,
Right.
using it to cope with mental illness and stuff like that, which is why he checked into rehab center and checked himself into certain facilities. So,
And then-
both of them actually coming together for this project kind of seems really interesting in what I guess the format that we got, like Kanye, kind of going on right now.
Well, I also think there's the sense that both of them kind of fell out of the public eye in negative senses. Like having to check into a therapy of any kind is not going to be good for your image.
But like,
right?
I don't feel like Kanye fell out though.
But
like,
Kanye
Cudi,
also, but you don't remember in 2017 when he,
I remember when he hit his head. I remember the whole.
and then like
when
he like had to
Hudson
check,
and Adam-
but he also had to check into some kind of rehab or something.
He did.
So what I'm saying
but I
is
don't
these are
think that
two.
it, like,
I think that it totally disgraced him, and I
Okay.
think there are people who fell from grace, we'll say, and then have both now returned in like with their heads held high and have gone through comparable paths of like recovery and whatnot. So there's definitely that connection. So I don't want to like take away from anything. I was just implying, for me, I don't know much about Kid Cudi other than what I've learned along the way of listening to these projects and reading his Wikipedia page and a couple of like things here and there. I love that album cover. I did take a note that it appears to be from Japanese Japanese artist Takahashi Murakami, who designed this cover, and I fucking love it, right? It's got like a little ghost that looks like a sperm in this really colorful background, and it's just
there's
really
multiple.
trippy. Yeah, but there's that like main ghost that looks like
like the big one, right?
well, that looks like a sperm with like a little kid on top of it.
The kid
then
on
there's the
top-
little one on the other side, and it looks like they're going through this colorful, magical, drug trippy forest and stuff. But at the other end, it also does look like the child's imagination bringing some shit to life, and I love it. I love how the cover works with the title, and it all just kind of fits. And even if this is the only project we ever get from Kids See Ghosts, it's kind of a cool thing. It's one of those ones that you will remember as a thumbnail. It looks cool. Like, you actually want to look at the cover.
It's actually pretty fucked. And I had this really weird thought, but so the dude on top of the sperm looking thing is Kanye.
Okay.
From how I perceive Kanye and his god complex mentality and stuff, he kind of just looks like this godlike demon feature.
He's a little more humble these days.
Not these days. And then, you know how like people kind of keep going like Kid Cudi or Kid Cudi and Cooties? Well, the other dude on the left kind of looks like a kid, and then the kid under him looks like he's got cooties on him. So I feel like they're kind of representing their names in a sense, and they're kind of showing like how they're kind of ghosts in this societal world, how they feel. Maybe it could be, again, as we know, Kanye's dealing with mental illness. So is Kid Cudi. So it could be some of these like things that they have in their heads, these things that they envision, you know, like these voices they might hear. I do really enjoy the beautiful coloring around it. It's very consistent with. Kanye's been very consistent when he's dropping these albums. If you look at Daytona, you look at Ye, and you look at Kids See Ghost, they all have this colorful feel to it. Well, look at Ye, he's got the colorful writing on it, the lime green writing with the blue color scheme.
Just knowing what's coming on the second half of this review.
That's why I stopped, and I think there might be a reason for that.
I also feel like Daytona isn't very colorful. It's very kind of almost pastel, and like if you look at it quickly, it's just this white bland background. You actually have to like look to notice the colors.
I noticed the turquoise. I noticed the blood splatter. I noticed that red. I noticed the mirror right away. I
don't like this is colorful, and I'll give it to you. The other one that Kanye, it's colorful, but in a different way. I feel like each one is visually different, representing a very different purpose. I feel like there's a lot of contrast between these covers, not so much a similar theme, but it's done on purpose because. I mean, as much as there's that Kanye touch that crosses between the different projects, each one stands out as a very distinct experience.
Fair.
I don't know. I thought that was cool. I'd love to know what y'all think about the covers, though. If you feel like Chris is right and they're all colorful, or if you agree with me and felt that Daytona wasn't so colorful.
I want to know if anybody knows. Quick question to the audience: if anybody knows what the symbols on the side are of the Kids See Ghost album, please let me know in the comments. I've been curious about that the entire time.
Maybe it's the artist tag. Like the guy who made the picture in the first place. It might be his name or something.
Because I see a person at the bottom as well.
So I don't know. Maybe. You guys can let us know if you know. I looked very briefly into the cover for this one. Sorry. But I hope y'all feel the love. So I had this playing on speakerphone, and Bunny got mad because she thought that, like, maybe it wasn't appropriate for us to be walking in the street with Pusha T rapping really loudly. I don't know if she was right. It was 9 p.m. on a Friday night. I thought it was okay. It wasn't like super loud, but whatever. I just want to know what your thoughts on music playing off of cell phones. I just want to know, what your world, do people play music on their cell phones? Or is it like a world of quietness where people all have headphones and it's like the boombox era is dead? This is just like not related to this review. It's like a personal thing I'm curious about. But this song, it just starts off so strong. Like it comes in with those thumping, whatever, and then I can still feel the love, but it's like loud.
Great how they increase the volume and the pitch of Kid Cudi's voice when he's saying I can still feel the love, and just how they carry it and they bring it down, and it's just the production on this track and the mixed and mastering is incredible.
Yeah, but how you feel about the rest of the track? Is it just the production you like?
No. I enjoy the track itself. I do enjoy Pusha T. I wasn't really actually surprised when Pusha came on right away. I was like, they're part of the whole camp. They're part of the whole team.
Really? Because I thought it was weird to start the album, the Kid Cudi and Kanye West album, with like a Pusha T verse. I thought that was I'm not mad at it. I like it. But I thought it was a strange, unexpected thing, like a happy surprise almost.
But given the fact that it is called Kids See Ghost, and when you're dealing with ghosts, you kind of have to think like anything is possible. Like any type of realm, dimension, type of weird creative thing could be possible. So having one of the kids of the camp on the track is really not surprising.
I don't know if I'd call him a kid, but I get what you're saying, and I love your imagination here, because
right.
We might need some imagination for this album, given the title of the project and all.
What's up? I like when Pusha was like, I am not to be compared to you rappers. Easy does it. I am more easy. You trying your best to become me. That sums up the entire verse to me pretty much. He's claiming he's the best, but not just him, Kanye, Cudi, everybody on Camp Good Music. He's claiming that they're taking over. They're the best. They're kings and gods of basic everything right now. And yeah, the rest is just like lavish money. I got this girl with this type of thing, and just it's fairly just we're balling out.
Nah, man, you gotta give love to the way like the transition of the end of this verse is, right? Because he's like, whatever, talking about women. She liked them bottles with bubbles in it, which comes right after what Chris said there, which is a bit of a throwback to one of the lines on Daytona, where he kind of referenced the only person who sold more dope than me was Easy. So that was cool that he brought that back, a little bit of a throwback to his own project.
Well, also still old school hip hop reference, keeping in tune with the culture of hip hop and everything.
And then she likes them bottles with bubbles in it. By her Loev, I think he says Loev is the way he pronounced it, or whatever. Another linen, why would I wait when there's other women? Which is kind of like whatever. So if you're not willing to put out, ladies, Pusha T is willing to just move on right away and go on to the next little person that's there. Why would I hate we in love with winning? So he's just down for winning. He's down to like fucking make it happen. Buy her bundles, fly her out, bring her friend, I try her out. Okay, whatever. Typical shit. He's rich. He's getting his girls. That's all fine. I support that. And no worries finding out the details ironed out. I love that. Like he's like, I can get away with whatever I want to do here because we've thought about everything ahead of time. Nobody's getting caught. That's fucking funny. So I got the sense that he's banging the one girl and then just flies her friend out on the side and it's all good, And so I don't know if it's actually a Minaj.
Yeah, we got like 10 more minutes because Shorty's showing up.
Yeah, that's kind of the thing. He's got it worked out. But either way, and then it's easily they plays along hoping that I play a song. So they do whatever he wants because he's a rapper.
Right.
And then I just love this. I love the fuck the trap music as like the beat fucking picks up and everything. You hear Kid Cudi's doing I Feel the Love. And then Kanye comes in with that. And then Pusha T just like finish it. No, but the way it's executed at this part of the verse is just so flawless, right? Because he's talking about lavish stuff, but then he's just like, I love to fuck the trap music. Like when I'm doing it, it's gotta be hard and proper. So that juxtaposition, that's my word of like the year, of like the feel the love, like I'm happy, the good vibes, followed by the aggression of Kanye's gun sounds, followed by Dope Money just came along. Woo! It's just like he loves trap music, right? And that's almost personified by Kanye's sounds.
Right, with the gun track.
Then it moves right in like I'm winning. The dope money's in. And then the verse just kind of flows into the chorus and it ends and everything. Or moves on. And I just had to... It moves on to like the next...
More gun sounds.
Yeah, the Kanye's verse.
All Kanye does is gun sounds.
But it's...
Look.
It's like...
I have a really bone to pick with this, okay? I understand what Kanye is doing in the concept of the track. He is showing that through all the violence and the hate and the negativity that is happening either in their city, their environment, the world right now, Kanye and Camp Good Music still feels the love and still can find the happiness. I get that.
See, I feel like it's more the opposite. In this song where they're finding the love and everything, they're still plagued by this violence and this negative. The gun sounds are meant to be like...
I could see that too.
A contrast to like... Because like this song starts off winning and glorious and everything's good.
Right.
But really, if you look at Pusha T's success, it comes at the cost of living the life of trap music.
Right.
Which is like this like contrast, right?
Right.
And then Kid Cudi's right there just expressing this powerful... Like the one word fucking chorus is just so strong. You can repeat it a bunch and it's cool. But Kanye is also the beat maker, right? Although... There are fucking 7 producers on this track. I'm throwing it out there. There are not just one like on some of the other ones. There are 7 people producing this song. Still, Kanye is heavily involved in the production side. So what I thought was cool about Kanye's part is how it contrasts with the music and the beats. And his gun sounds almost feel like they're part of the beats more than it feels like he's trying to rap or anything. And yeah, it sounds a lot like Designer. But good Designer. I don't know, man. I love the way it sounds. To me, this is a 4.5 on 5. It's really hard to call this a 5 on 5 in light of the fact that Kanye kind of used his voice as an instrument for so much of the song, and it kind of is one of those songs where you do gotta be a bit in a mood to vibe to it. It's maybe not the most profound deepness, but fuck, is this a great way to start a project? Like to make you want to listen to an album. That it does really well. Great
Absolutely.
Opener.
It is a great opener. But it really loses points for me where, like, look, I get gun sounds, I get hype man sounds, I get putting emphasis on certain imagery on your tracks. I understand that. But I literally just feel like right now Kanye just swung open the fucking door for any new artist deciding to just fill up,
like,
30 seconds of a verse of just full gun sounds.
But like
you don't even
you have to like you have to be
anymore.
honest. Well, it's been like that for a minute.
No.
But
no.
But like
there's
what
been
I'm
mumble
trying to
rap and there's like covering it up with the auto tune and the.
I really respect like that point of view, but this isn't exactly like they're trying to make some hip hop here in the most conventional sense.
That.
This is some like out there spacey shit off the jump. We're playing like more in rave territory than we are in rap territory, in my opinion. And just even the live show is not even the same shit as you would get from the Daytona project.
I see all that. I see all that.
What I'm saying is, Kanye obviously wasn't trying to rap here.
Of course.
But the way he expressed himself is not just something anybody can do. That wasn't just amateur shit.
Absolutely.
And the way he mixed it and produced it and put it on top of this beat and the way it meshed perfectly, yeah, you might get copycats trying to cop that shit. Hell, Designer's more or less just been that. In my opinion. That's that whole song. That's basically what that is. What I'm trying to say is people can't do what Kanye just did just that easily.
Just a tangent on the Designer thing. I get that Designer did it and Panda is like 50%.
No, I'm not talking about Panda. I'm talking about like that song he did, Champion or whatever. That is just that.
No, but Designer's quoted as a hype man on that though.
But you know what the thing is? People just didn't make it happen. So Designer is not popping right now. So what I'm saying is Kanye might be able to do some shit like poop-de scoop-de whoop and like fucking cite it 8 times because it's relevant. And you know what? Next album, Kanye not going to be doing that. But this doesn't change the fact that when you, to me, y'all might agree with Chris. And I understand how maybe from a respecting the culture point of view, it looks like a lazy verse. But when I listen to the experience
of this,
it's
lazy.
That's what I'm saying. When I think about the experience of having the headphones on and, you know, feeling this track, I don't know that I really want him rapping. I kind of like what he's doing here.
I agree. I agree.
Okay.
Like, in concept of the song. And
it's the only context I'm caring about at the moment.
Right.
I get it.
I have the problem with the fact that it's just, like, I just have the problem with the fact that I'm afraid now that literally verses are going to have that amount of time of just gun sounds now. Or just like, random noises. Like, this is, like a new way for hip-hop.
Like, hold on. Not to, like, cut you off there.
Right.
Or anything, but didn't Big Shaq do like a whole parody thing where like he was already making fun of the fact that this is already kind of a trend? And I'm not trying to, like, I don't really know. I don't know how prevalent this already is.
Hold on. But I understand that Big Shaq, and I get it because he went scoobity pop pop pop, and that whole mockery. I get that. But Big Shaq, Big Shaq is a comedian though.
But what I'm trying to say is, in order for him to have made a mockery, it had to exist prior to Kanye.
Right, but as hype man sounds, not a verse.
No, I'm talking about as a verse, because that's what he was mocking, that people are using.
No, he made the verse, but
Chris,
nobody like.
He is making fun of the fact that people were doing this as a verse. That is why it was funny.
Then I'm not aware of those verses. I feel like it's really just hype man sounds for me.
But like, Designer released a track that was just hype man sounds. Whether or not it was hype man or not, he released like a 2-minute track where he just made noises. I'm not saying like this. Look, there's a bunch of people who probably do this, and some of it sounds really good, and some of it sounds really bad. Where I'm at with all of this is I'm not gonna say a bunch of skibbity bibbity bop is hip hop or not. I'm gonna say that if the shit sounds good on the song, I'm okay with it. And if the shit sounds bad on the song, what I think will happen is nobody's gonna buy that shit. So at the end of the day, we might get a little flood of a couple more singles with some people doing some stuff from names that you're not gonna hear next year. And I don't really see that as a threat or a problem. Now, maybe in 2 years, I'm eating these fucking words, and Chris is completely right, and I'm open to that. And I'm not trying to be condescending or anything.
Right,
I just feel like it's taking away from how cool Kanye made that to me to, like, assume that, like I don't think he's going to do – he just maybe took what other people were doing and made it sound cool, in my opinion. Okay. So I feel like this existed before Kanye. And I know I've heard bars, at least, of gunshot sounds that were just bars of a couple of lines. Like, and it came in with the brak or whatever. Like, that's still kind of the same thing as, like, a full bar of your song sometimes. So it already existed, and he's just kind of taken that. And I don't know. Like, I don't know. Like,
I see your point. Look, at the end of the day, I did give it a 3.9. But remember, my grading doesn't mean the song ain't fire.
I understand, Chris. You don't have to like it, honestly. I just did, like I talked about, if you listen to Mike Shinoda's album, I love Mike Shinoda, and I kind of appreciate that album, but I don't necessarily love that album. So I'm not saying you have to love everything. I just didn't want to, like, kind of make it sound like Kanye's just trend hopping or like responsible for some, it's not a gimmick in my mind. I feel like that was an artistic choice Kanye made more so than a gimmicky move that only works on this song, the only place he does it, on this album. Fire.
I'm guessing I'm just sick of running. All this time searching hard for something.
This one has 5 producers that are credited. Evax, Boogs and Tapes, which might be more than one person. Andre 3000, aka 3 Stacks. And both of the members of Kid See Ghost, Kanye West and Kid Cudi. So at least 5 people were producing this track. How did you feel about this multi-produced track, multi-person effort?
The beat was got me more captivated a lot quicker than the previous track. I like that heavy rumble bass type of stomping sound that was played throughout the song. That was good. I like how Kanye is kind of expressing how like he's just kind of taught like how he doesn't really care about people talking shit. It doesn't really affect him. He does see that people are talking shit about, you know, him and his team, but he is gonna spit the fire and make sure that things are as good as they could be. No, the Kanye verse to me felt like, you know, he kind of recovered. He's been through XYZ. He's kind of proved himself. But then there's this line where he goes, sniffed a little botch off the nail. Now, I'm just figuring out, is Kanye on coke? Is that what that means?
What were the lines before and after it?
I didn't really quote them just because I didn't feel like they were leading up to anything. I felt like he just kind of dropped bars throughout the track, just kind of stating like bullet points of what he was saying.
So what he said is, I done proved to myself back on that ruling myself. So what he's saying here is, to me at least, I've proven I can take control of my life, given the fact that I had at one point in the near past lost my control of my life.
Right.
I got new news to tell. Act like you knew you done failed. So he's going to tell us some shit, and he's going to act like, you know, everyone thought he was going to fail or whatnot. Only true know how I feel, and only you knew how I felt. Snipped a little botch off the nail. Through with mixed messages through the mail. So I don't really know what booch is. I'm assuming it's drugs the way it's put down, but it could be something else. But the way I take that whole passage is how, like, only the real is going to fully understand the context of what he's doing, and whatever. That's what he says right before it. And when he snooped that, but it's almost like that line, it fits into a greater narrative of confusion, how he maybe was on drugs for a minute, I was a little bit fucked up or whatever, but it follows through with, but I'm done with all that, is immediately the next one, you know, through with the mail, only a few in the field, little bit off for the real. So he's kind of saying, like, immediately after that line, that, like, I'm done with that old way. That shit was bad, and now I'm moving on to, like, a better and a smarter way of living. So to take the line in and of itself, I get it. That's why I asked what comes right before and what comes right after it, because a lot of times these lines actually make sense within a greater narrative, but if you cherry pick it, it's just a weird lyric, right?
Fair. No, absolutely. Then we follow into Kid Cudi's flow. I like his flow. I like how he's presenting it. I like how he's placing the words, and he's doing that, like, not really insane tricky stuff, but it, like, the way he's kind of got this trappy vibe to his flow was cool, but it doesn't match his voice. I felt like his voice was a little bit singy type compared to the flow that he was producing. And I mean, I might be wrong on how I'm using these terms, but it's literally just, I don't feel like his voice really matched the way that he was, like, portraying some of these bars and kind of having that hard-hitting, in-your-face type flow. But then he comes in on the chorus and he kills it, and I was like, this is what I like. This is what I like about Kid Cudi, that auto-tuney, soft, melodic type, rappy, singy voice that he's got. I've always enjoyed that from him. Not saying that, you know, the verse wasn't bad. The verse was good. I like when, you know, he also said, and I may have cherry-picked this line as well, this is the type of shit that they couldn't make, watch the fakes. I feel like he's directly just saying that nobody can do what we're doing on this album, this track. Watch people try to copy us, but they'll never be able to do it. They don't have that Kid Cudi, spacey sounding style. You don't have that brain like Kanye does or the other producers on this track.
Give it everything around that. That's exactly what they're saying.
Right? As per everything else, the verse kind of Kid Cudi kind of talks about, you know, him dealing with drug abuse, dealing with mental illness. They're kind of just expressing how they're both kind of collabing together. I thought it was really great. I thought that they really kind of set their tone for each other, have their own little, like, moment of fame, and not moment of fame, but like they're the moment on the track where they kind of get to spit their real shit, and it was good. 4.5 on 5.
Okay. I mean, yeah, Kanye kind of does his thing. We discussed that a little bit. I like the way Kanye sounds. I like the beginning part best, where he's like, I love all your shit talking. I love all your shit talking. You ain't got nothing better to do with yourself. And he's just like, why do y'all care about me? Like, literally, as much as people kind of make it sound like it's Kanye season, I feel like, as people, we love to hate Kanye more than Kanye wants to be hated. And I think that's a statement that might have some validity if you look around your social circles and stuff and just ask people how they feel about Kanye.
Just quick tangent, is that possible? Like, we like to just hate celebrities?
Certain ones. Look at Britney. We destroyed her. And then we blamed her. And then we did it again to Lindsay. and then we destroyed her.
And then we blamed her.
Exactly. So whatever. But I like Kid Cudi's verse. I like the fact that he's showing his versatility. Like, I think that if he had not proven a little bit that he's capable of rapping in his natural, non-auto-tune voice and having some skill there, he would have been attacked for that, you know? Especially because Kanye does rap on this album. And the verses kind of needed that rapping to offset the chorus a little bit. And I like what Kid Cudi's flow is like. It kind of came in cadence, militaristic almost, this constant flow to it. And it's great lyrics. Like, it's so many days I prayed to God, all this pain I couldn't seem to find a way, on a mission, living, carry on. Got to see my family. Got my family. I hate it when I do that. Got my family, I'm seeing through the days, never late, pull whatever. And they're just kind of like, you feel like this sense that like they're almost passionately trying to do something here that is going to make a difference and almost make it worth everything that they've been through. But I think the real crux of why this song has got like real merit is the production choice at the end to flip into that guitars for like 20, 30 seconds, right? And all of a sudden it's like a completely different song serving as this little interlude where it really sounds like this achieving serenity, like this calm, soothing guitar part that follows like this almost more passionate song. But I don't like it as much as the last one. I gave it a 4. The beat was okay. And I don't know. This one just seemed like, of all of the songs, the least interesting lyrically and subject matter wise. I don't know. 4 on 5. It was definitely like, if I put the album on, there's no reason to pass over this song. Let it play through. It's good. It's just not good compared to some of the ones I like a lot more.
Just before we switch, thank you for reminding me of the ending part. I completely forgot. I also as well do like how they got this, like, after hearing the verses of Kanye divulging, you know, his personal business, how he kind of dealt with stuff, and then as well Kid Cudi, breaking down his personal stuff. I get that feeling. I get that, like, they kind of just went through this whole, like, breakdown, and then now they're just kind of strumming a guitar and just in serenity and relaxing. That was really cool. That's all I wanted to put on.
Now we're going to break the fourth wall. That's talking to y'all. I don't know if that works in a podcast. Fourth dimension.
Here we go again, God, shine your love on me. Save me, please.
So we have Louis Prima, an old-timey singer that was popping in the 50s and 60s, doing this little intro bit, like, down the chimney he will come with his great big smile. And you'll find that even the kiddies are swinging in the latest style. What is Santa bringing? I wonder whether he'll be swinging. You know, like, okay, so that comes in. And then he takes that, like, beat from that old song and just it morphs into a Kanye beat proper. And it, like, flips in. And Kanye starts us off with some corny fun, as I put it, right? It feels so good. It should cost, it feels so good. It should cost Badara alligator. I ain't talking Lacoste. Rhyming cost with Lacoste is always corny. And then just the whole line is corny, but it's fine. Made me say like a mix of Master P and Rick Ross, because both those rappers go in their rhymes. I mean, it's fun. It's Kanye. This is that corny side of him. She seemed to make me always want to feel like a boss, which makes sense because the other guys were also very boss-like in their rap personas. She said I'm in the wrong hole. I said I'm lost. Never worked ever for anyone. Never. Just, if you want to go in the black hole, ask. And if she says no, lube up. Don't just stick it in. You got to at least lube up. It's going to be a bad time.
But she said no. You shouldn't be lubing up if she said no.
Well, if you're going to do it anyway, don't just stick it in. That's what I'm trying to say here. It's rude.
We don't advocate that. Just please ask for consent.
Yeah, listen, if you're not getting
ask for consent. That's it.
On
End of story.
You. Don't do anything negative.
Don't fuck around, okay?
But if you did want to try a little sneakeroo,
shut up, Holden.
Listen, if you're with your girl,
because next thing you know, I don't need comments going, "You're the reason my girlfriend left me. I stuck it in without her permission." And
if you do that shit because I said some shit on this podcast, that's on you. Anyway.
Consent.
So yeah.
Wait, no. Can we just wait? Hold on. You already started. Let's just finish.
She said, "I'm going too fast. I'm exhausted." Now drop to your knees for the offer.
Are you fucking serious, Kanye?
Why?
Like, that is. Look, I get it. He has a god complex. I understand. But come on.
I don't agree with your assessment.
Really? He's basically calling himself a higher power, and that when he's about to ejaculate, it's his offering to his woman.
Yeah.
That is so, like...
It really flows with the boss shit. It's really not that eccentric. It's on pace with what most rappers would say. Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm a bad dad, I bust in her mouth is right there at this line. Like, there's not a huge difference. It's kind of weird.
I don't know.
It's kind of weird to cherry pick those.
I
mean... He's basically saying he's a nut in her mouth, and it's like in the spirit of Madonna's Like a Prayer, instead of in the spirit of like fucking, I don't know, man. That's just such a weird criticism.
I don't know.
That's your point. That's your problem with the verse.
It was just. It's not that I like the bars. I like what he said. I too am like, okay, that's pretty cocky, but I'm just like, for fuck's sakes, like.
So what? Really sticking it in the back hole was not the part that was too far. It was the get on your knees and take my offering.
It was the here's my offering. Like you,
like there's just
like you were gonna be so honored to get this in your mouth. Like this is like that whole mentality. I was just like,
it's very prevalent. It's not really like Kanye invented this idea.
Of course.
I just find it weird that is where you're drawing the line here. I'm gonna call you out on that in the future. I promise. It's gonna come back because that's a strange one. He's gonna be like, it's like almost the exact same line's gonna come up, and he's gonna go on about how boss and amazing it is, and I'm gonna be like,
write it in a song.
And then I'm gonna be like, what about Kanye? Oh, it's different when Kanye says it.
Yes.
See, that's the Kanye effect.
I'm one of the hating on him.
Anyway. So then he does that. Like, it's an okay song like that. It's like this the theme song. She said, "I'm getting loose while I'm on the deuce. See me roll out, watch you surf, hit the coast, and got this feeling." It's nice. I like that a little bit. I believe that's in the middle there. Plenty of adventures for the evening. We go journey. We off from the light to the guide us home. In the moment, oh, and then Kid Cudi just goes through like this whole story about like meeting a girl. Tell the cougar get up off me is a good one.
I thought it was just dropping bars of how he's living lavish.
Such a lost boy caught up in the darkest. I had what's the cost boy? Losing everything I had. She been on me, boy. Unless you got something to tell. Sitting waiting for me slipping. I'll see you in hell. Tell the cougar get up off me. No, my soul ain't for sale. So he's resisting this woman's advances on him because he used to live in a certain way. Is what I'm taking from this. I really hope the Lord won't hurt me. We all live in sin. Kids see ghosts off the ropes. Ric Flair on your bitch. This the theme song. The put your beams on, get your dream on. Anyway, I feel like he's just kind of trying to show a little bit of evolution, a little bit of
I feel like he's talking about the fourth dimension of being really rich, famous, and powerful and having to fight off, these type of whatever women, cougars.
Yeah, that thing.
That makes such that case. And then, because he just turns around and he's like, yo, kids see ghosts, Ric Flair in your bitch. Like, it's basically just boasting about how they're good. Nobody can be like them. Kind of how I took it, and it's cool how they associated the life of fame and partying and drug abuse and such and such and such as a fourth dimension. Because I guess an everyday person or like an average Joe does not live in that type of life. So once you get to there, it's like you could say it's another dimension. It's not a life that you're used to living. So coming from where these artists may have come from, and then being in where they are now, it could feel like a completely different world. So that was pretty cool.
That's fair. And then you have the bit at the end that was kind of commenting on song length. So what's super interesting is this woman says that the song should be short and sparse and under 3 minutes. It's actually the same woman that's singing at the beginning of the song Ghost Town off of the Kanye project. I just wanted to say Kid Cudi raps a lot tighter on this track than he did on the last one. It was really nice. But then if you look at the track length of the first 3 songs, they're all under 3 minutes. And then if you look at the track length of the rest of the album, it's all more than 3 minutes. So it's almost like Kanye is doing on these first 3 songs is they're showing like, look, we had to follow the rules and confine ourselves to these short things. It's like we were trapped in the box, and then there's a deliberate effort of defying the rules in just the track length on the rest of the project. And I didn't catch that before, but it's fucking interesting, and I just wanted to share that with y'all and wonder if any of y'all caught that.
Didn't.
Anyway, so that was really, really cool. I give this a 4.5 on 5. It's got a great feeling, a great energy. It's kind of like what you would hope for, I guess, when you think of Kid Cudi and Kanye West fucking around together.
I gave it a 4. I enjoyed it. I think that they both did really well. It's not a bad track.
And so considering where that sample that ends this song comes from, it's super fitting that the next track is Freeee Ghost Town Part 2.
It set me free.
Oh man, this one starts off with Marcus Garvey's speech. Marcus Garvey is from what I understand, is an active political leader of some kind that was really influential for a movement that I don't want to say wrong, but I need to look him up more. So it was a name I discovered today that maybe I should have known previously. So thank you, Kanye.
I heard him from another rapper, and I have like that line in my head.
Yeah, so and then he kind of says, may I say something to you to give you a true knowledge of yourself in life? Man in the full knowledge of himself is superb and a supreme creature of creation. When man becomes possessor of the knowledge of himself, he becomes the master of his environment. So this song kind of picks up after 070 Shake talking about burning her hand on the stove to feel free and all that, and the way that one ended. And it picks up with this little quote, and then it kind of moves into like Kanye just being like, I don't feel pain anymore. Guess what, baby? I feel free, with the classic scoop in like the ad-lib to show that like he feels free to make a poopty scoopty soupty song because he can do whatever the fuck he wants because he's elevated his way of thinking, and how you feel is not going to trap him and make him not feel as free. Nothing hurts me anymore. Your comments. He's rubber, you are glue. Whatever you say will bounce off of him and stick to you. And guess what, baby? Feels free. And then each of the three players of this track, because it also features Ty, Dolla, Side Ein, and they come in and they kind of sing over each other, but it's mostly Ty Dolla Sign and like I'm so complete in the mode. And you guess what? I feel free, and you know damn well he lifted me up every time that I fell. You set me free. Yeah, it's all three of them kind of talking over each other.
Oh yeah, it's the yeah.
But it's mostly Ty. And then the whole last part, except for like one line, is Ty. Like, yeah, you should quit your job to this. Was a good line that Kanye says, because somebody had made a meme video where they quit their job to a Kanye song. So he was saying, here's another one for y'all, because you can be free, quit your fucking job. Hold up, let them politic. One day they hate you, next day they love you. I'm still yelling, fuck you, I could never trust. And then that's really interesting, right? Because for real, so many people fucking destroyed Kanye's credibility, allegedly. Everyone said it's over for him and whatever. Not even a month later, the same institutions are going on about his fucking albums and giving him all the press and love. Like, honestly, all they've talked about for like 6 weeks is Kanye. If anyone really ended him and anyone ever whatever, like, it would not have been the case. So they obviously just hate him when it's convenient and love him when it's convenient. And so I really appreciate the message here. I kind of like feeling out my past life, died and came back twice, now I'm free. Shows that they've gone through some shit, they've reformatted themselves, they've overcome. And honestly, you just feel it in this song. Like, you just feel that freedom. You just feel like the energy coming off. You feel like this excellent, I don't know, man. This is the kind of song that you put on some headphones and you close your eyes and you're in like a new world. And like whatever your stresses of your regular life, you know what? You can get through it all. If Kid Cudi and Kanye West can bounce back from their shit, nothing can stop you. And
yeah, they went to rehab and dealt with their drug abuse problem.
Yeah, but they bounced back from all of the other shit.
Of course.
And that's just how they did it. So to look at it and say, that's fine. But they still had to deal with a lot of stuff, but now they're free of your judgment. And that is, I think, the key takeaway. And I thought that was inspiring and interesting. So I give this song a 5 on 5. Excellent production, excellent contributions from everybody. Feels great. It's the same kind of spacey vibe from that first track. Fantastic.
Nice. I don't really have much to say about this song. I felt like it was just very repetitive in terms of being free. I get the point of it. I do understand what they're trying to drive home with it. I like how both Cudi and Kanye are expressing how they've overcome problems, dealing with the mental illness, with the comments, with the haters, having to check in and out of institutions, and dealing with maybe some.
They don't really talk about most of those things on this song.
No, Kanye speaks about overcoming issues, and it's
free.
On free, yeah, he feels free like because he's not dealing with the issues anymore.
It's mostly like he says how he's free because he's no longer responding to your criticism. It's not really about drug issues and stuff. It's like oh, you can tweet at me all you want, but my mind is free. Like, I watched that TMZ video, and he talks about being free. It's an intellectual freedom. It's like he is free to say that there are 400 years of slavery, and other people are free to think he looks stupid, but he is still free within his mind to get through it. Like, I think that this song kind of describes in a more, like, general, like, specifically this song is in a more general sense, kind of talking about how, like, they've overcome within themselves and they're now mentally free of criticism that previously had kept them down. I'm just saying, in this particular song, I don't see any of that other stuff about the drugs and stuff. I think that's more of a general backstory that we all know going into this song. It's not really a part of what this one's trying to be.
Fair. I gave the song a 4. It's not really my, like, favorite track on the album so far, but it's not a bad song. I do like how they're, and I do agree with you. If you're, like, in this releasing mode and trying to find this, like, positive energy and wanting to feel free and escape, this is a song that could help you. I do get the whole experience part of it. It is a good track. It didn't really hit me.
That's fine.
One of those right ways. But I gave it a 4.
All right, let's talk about Reborn. Chris, how do you feel about Reborn?
It's okay. I like the beat. I like that soft melodic sound to it. I like how Cudi is, just had that sing-songy type voice to him. Now he's reborn. My only real grievance with this song, since I brought it up, is the fact that it's just very repetitive with driving home the point of being reborn. I do understand that they're trying to make this emphasis of overcoming, of like being a new, maybe like a new person, or having this new perspective on life and these new ideas. I totally appreciate it. I totally appreciate it 100%. I just feel like the song is very long and it's just very repetitive. Maybe not even that long, but it's just very repetitive, which makes it feel long to me. What I got, I found out that Kanye doesn't like being around people. He kind of just likes to do his own thing, be on his own, from what I understand from the verse. And again, Cudi is just being reborn. I landed this at a 3.9. It didn't really take me like the previous tracks.
So I'm gonna have to agree with Chris and say the outro of this song with the freaking Kid Cudi chorus on repeat. I'm so reborn. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Ain't no stress on me that I'm moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. And that was really why I took points off this song, because otherwise I love it up until that non-stop repetition. Well, I mean, it stops, but like the end of the song, it goes on too long, and I agree with Chris. It makes it feel long. I mean, maybe they were trying to stretch the length of the album because it was kind of short as it was. But I really love Kanye's verse. Very rarely do you catch me out. Y'all done special invited guest me out. So like he's saying here, I don't really want to go out anymore. I don't want to do this shit. Y'all have invited me to be your special guest on your event just too many times, and I just can't handle that anymore. I'm done. That's what I felt there. Y'all been telling jokes that's going to stress me out. And, like, if you really look at it, man, people just kind of, like, make fun of him. Like, oh, he made that 400 years of slavery comment. I listened to the whole clip, and I understand why everyone got mad, because he said it in a really dumb way. But if you really listen to what he was trying to say, and I feel like a lot of people didn't make that effort because they were blinded at how poorly he articulated himself, he was so clearly not saying that, like, what everyone took from it, right? So I can get where he's coming from, that now people are stressing him up because here he is trying to, like, do some shit and explain him, and then, like, you know, like, express himself. People are coming at him, just kind of belittling him like an idiot. Then he comes out as bipolar, like, right after to, like, try to explain himself a little bit further. And then everyone makes fun of him even more for that shit, like, making it like it's a fucking joke. Like, oh, Kanye's just exploiting I saw people on my Facebook being like, Kanye's exploiting bipolarism for profit. It's like, oh, okay, now we're just looking for any reason we can to fucking hate the guy. Okay, so when I hear all of that shit going on, and I, like, think about what he's trying to express here, I kind of really get where he's coming from. I was off and drained and I was off the meds. I was called insane. What an awesome thing. Engulfed in shame. Like, when you have to learn to love the fact that your name is fucking just a laughing stock full of shame and like disgrace for everybody, that's tough, okay? I don't care who you are. That is not a simple thing to be that person, you know? Especially when, as he pointed out, he's trying to do what Tupac would do as opposed to what, you know, pop music wants to be. Anyways, he goes on like that, and when he like kind of describes, and he ends it like, caught in the Audi home, we was all detained, all of you Mario, a solid game. And I love that. I love how he's just trying to point out that there's this giant game. Like, he sees something that people don't see, and they just kind of, like, put him in a box and call him crazy and shut him down. If anything, it sounds like some of those conspiracy theories you see after people watch celebrities die and come up with the craziest shit that immediately hot new newswire bullshit shares and everybody goes viral. You know, it kind of looks like one of those stories, but in real life sometimes. Now, maybe I'm not qualified to speak so much on it. I don't like commenting on whether or not he should have articulated that particular comment in that way, but I'm pretty safe to say that most times Kanye is misquoted in most things he says, and most people don't really listen to him. Kid Cudi, on the other hand, comes in and, you know, he just comes, I had my issues, ain't that much I could do. Peace is something that all starts with me. At times, what are my purpose? Easy then to feel worthless, but peace is something that starts with me. So you kind of get the sense that he's just giving you a little bit of kind of the counterbalance to Kanye, who's presenting the problem, the anxiety, where the negative stuff is coming from. You then have Kid Cudi in contrast, giving you the remedy, how to solve it, how to find that inner peace. And really, almost like this song explains the need for the last song by showing the solution for the last song and really contextualizing it. But yeah, it's too long. It's 4.25. I like it. I think it could have been a 5 if it was shorter and maybe a little tighter. You want to talk about the greatest song on this album?
Yeah.
Well, kids see ghosts sometimes. Kids see ghosts sometimes. Kids see ghosts. I throw it out there. The beginning of this song sounds far too much like Starboy by The Weeknd. Throwing it out there, but the rest of the song is fine. Yo, this is the jam, man. Like, it comes in and that beat is just the best beat on this album. Like, instantly you're hooked. I don't know. Anyone I've talked to about it has seemed to like this song a lot.
It's a really good song, and you know it is the title song of the album.
But yo, then Yasiin Bey, I hope I'm saying that right. Mos Def, for those who don't know, comes in and starts singing on this shit, and you're just
wait.
Mos Def is the fucking chorus. Kids see it go sometimes.
That's Yasiin Bey?
Yeah, dude. It's Mos Def. It's the same guy. He rebranded his name late 2000s.
Oh, yeah. I noticed that when we did the Mos Def on Genius.
Yes.
Okay.
So Mos Def is there. Like, kids see it go sometimes. Kids see it go sometimes. Kids see it go. Spirits moving around. They're moving. And you're just like, I shouldn't like this as much as I like this. But the way the beat comes in all spooky and stuff.
Yep.
And the way, like, he comes in all spooky and
But
stuff.
you also get, like, you know the cover of the album, how it looks like they're in, like, this wavy forest? I got that feeling of, like, kind of just walking around in this, like, colorful, wavy, like, Dr. Seuss-looking creepy forest and just seeing ghosts. Like, that's how I pictured it entering in this, like, cinematic way.
And then Kid Cudi comes in with like this nice, I guess this is that Kid Cudi flow everyone wants, that singy kind of rappy stuff where he's like, y'all can't move me, this my movie, y'all can't stop me, y'all too sloppy, carbon copy, carbon same thing in a room, sitting by myself, heaven soon, many things, whatever. He basically pointing out how, you know, people aren't so real, he's looking for some real shit, he's kind of sick of running all this time searching hard for something, but, you know, he's kind of found his pieces, he's describing and stuff, and he's not kind of commenting on it. Whatever, that's fine. Mos Def comes back, that's fine, and then Kanye drops one hell of a fucking verse here. You know, like, just the rapping is dope, and the lyrics are dope. The flow on this track and this beat is dope. And I like how he just starts it. Well, it took me long enough to rap on this strong enough. Like, you got the sense that, like, he had been trying to find the right verse for this song for months even, and now he finally got it. And I don't know if that's what happened, but considering he wrote everything fucking last minute for a lot of his projects, even to the point where the listening party happened and the album wasn't done in some cases, like, that's kind of like, okay, Kanye did this all whatever. And then Paid this shit, just gonna give up because Ye gonna live up to everything that sucks. To you, it's never enough. Thought I'd be clever enough to give up while I'm ahead. And then the next line's apparently a play on some classic rap song, the Breakfast and Bread headline, whatever. And I'm like, I thought it was corny until I found out it was a tribute line to something, whatever. For anybody that said I was better off dead, told him, don't ever believe nothing you ever read. Oof. He's saying, yo, listen, for all those people out there that are saying I'm the worst and maybe you shouldn't just trust what you hear about me fucking blindly. Because I used to be that kind of Kanye hater. I was all with Matt Stone and Trey Parker when they shot on him in fucking South Park. And Kanye admitted he was an arrogant asshole back then. I feel like since then he's changed, and people don't want to acknowledge that. I didn't expect to defend Kanye so much in this episode. It just happens a lot in my life. But then the whole, like, got a Bible on my bed, or yes, I'm very Christian, constantly repenting because yes, I never listen. Don't like being questioned and don't like being less than any competition in any of my professions.
I like that line. I like that line, and I stopped it at question, and I don't like being less than. And I started it with got the Bible on my bed. Those 4 bars there, yep. I like how he kind of sound like you can see that he's self-analyzing. You can see that he is changing. You can see that he's trying to find peace, and he's trying to find where he may have. And
he's definitely not that I'm a God complex Kanye from several years back, you know? But I think it's really relevant, the less than any of a competition, any of my professions. Because I remember watching Kanye a few years back being like, I'm not just a rapper. I'm so much more than that. And he just fucking keeps doing things.
In that studio?
Yeah, and then that really inspired me as a person. It's one of the most influential interviews I've ever seen in my life, was this Kanye West interview saying, I am more than just a rapper. I'm only 33 years old. What do y'all expect of me? I'm going to keep doing my dreams. And since then, he just has kept doing that no matter what you said. And then, so I guess you got to guess then, I got to slay the best man. What else do you expect from Mr. Westman? Painting from Westland, hung in my space like a relative. Whatever. I don't like that last line as much. But it kind of shows that he's at the high-end art and whatever fashion. But I love the flow of all of this. And the feel. And then Mos Def does his little bridge thing: civilization without society, power and wealth with nobility, stability without stasis, places and spaces. And then he does the chorus again, and yeah, the king, yeah, that's the king. And what's a crown for the clouds moving around? It's just nice, man. And that kind of throws back a bit to that Kingdom Come album, Jay-Z, in Paris.
The Watch the Throne.
In Paris. I don't like saying blank. It sounds stupid. So I censored. But I get it as a 5, man. I love this fucking song. I've listened to this song like 15 to 20 times in the last week or so. I'm nowhere near done. This one has made my permanent playlist compared to maybe some are good, and this is a song I fell in love with from the first second, and I just couldn't help it.
This is a very good song. I landed it at a 4.9. It didn't make it a 5 only because of my lack of knowledge. When Yasiin Bey went civilization without society, power and wealth with nobility, stability without status, and places and spaces. I'd be straight up honest. I don't know what that means, but from what I understand from it, it's an interesting concept to think of, how you can have a civilization without a society, how you can have power and wealth with nobility, and I don't really quite, I don't know.
It's an ironic look at, I think, the state of things and current things.
Right.
And corruption in general.
That, I kind of got that.
Stability.
I just didn't know it 100%.
And then stability without stasis, and stasis would be stability. Places and spaces. So it's how can you really have any of these things without those other things that we don't have?
Right.
In that deep, Mos Def kind of way.
Well, thank you for letting me know that. But other than that, everything about this song is good. It's catchy. It gives you this eerie feel when Mos Def or Yasiin Bey is doing the chorus. It just, the whole track itself is fucking great. 4.9.
All right, then there's the Cudi montage to close off this first project.
Need an intervention for this new dimension. That's too new to mention.
So it's super weird and just unexpected is to hear Kurt Cobain's guitar riff off of that random collection of tapes that came out in 2015, and the song in particular is called Burn the Rain. So Kanye took a Kurt Cobain guitar lick and turned it into a fucking beat. And here we are with this song called Cudi Montage, which I don't actually get the fucking title. I would have thought it made sense if there was no Kanye on it, but then Kanye does the second verse and Kid Cudi does the first verse. And I don't know. Find my back in the cold, trapped in another soul. They can hear me holler, I'm colder than the game. See him strapped and can't move, I'm sinking lower. Heaven gonna help me because I feel the world weighing heavy, trying to keep it steady. You know, and he just goes on again, and you get the sense that Cudi is feeling the weight of the world and the darkness and all the things that kind of had him go into the paths that led to all the things that, like, it's almost like, yes, they have their freedom, but here's the dark weight and the dark temptations of shit that is kind of weighing on their back that isn't necessarily expressed on the rest of the album. Like, they're there, but it's not smooth sailing. And then he, like, ends it kind of, like, praying for God and wanting to, like, find some solace and shit. And then I like how Kanye comes in with everybody want world peace till your niece gets shot with a dome piece. Then you go and buy your own piece, hoping it'll help you find your own peace. And that is
some serious
that might
shit.
be some of the strongest bars that get dropped on all of these fucking projects he put out. Like, so yeah, you wanna everybody, and it's true, man. Everybody really wants the world to be all together. And if you like translate it into the various social justice movements, everybody wants world peace. Up until your particular demographic is being attacked for some reason, and then you're ready to burn the world down.
I kind of took it as everybody wants world peace, but we're using violence to achieve world peace.
But it's got to think about, like, okay, so it's you want world peace until somebody close to you gets taken out,
right?
And then in your act of vengeance, all of a sudden you throw it away and you go out there and you try to find your own inner peace through revenge. And, you know, as opposed to like, so all of a sudden you don't really want world peace when something bad happens to you. It's kind of like what Kendrick was saying on that Triple X track with the gun violence little thingy. Like he gives the whole speech about how, oh, if they took him out, you got to get a gun, you got to get revenge, whatever. Hold up, I got to go give this intervention. Okay, kids, gun violence. It's kind of like that kind of like sense, you know?
Oh.
And like, so everybody wants, but, and then, anyway, bring light to what they don't see. Auntie crying on the concrete, talking to dispatcher when the phone beep. On the other line was homies, told her you ain't coming home, see. And you realize that, like, this guy's either dead or he's going to jail or whatever. He's been caught and some stuff, bad things are happening. Caught up with the rifle and the long reach. Just another cycle in the lonely. All growing up in an environment where doing crime is the requirement. They send us out to prison for retirement. And so I guess he got locked up over this violent cycle. And it's like, fuck, this is like this politically, socially aware, honest criticism of some shit. And then you know Kanye wrote this the last fucking minute because of that hopefully Alice Johnson will inspire men line. So the day before this album came out is the day that Donald Trump freed Alice Johnson after meeting with Kim Kardashian a couple of days prior. So the fact that Trump was able to give this pardon, I believe it was, to this lady, and she was let go after explaining the environment, or she sold drugs because she had to, etc., etc. So maybe because even Trump could let this lady go, people can find some hope in this story that maybe some good things can happen. And I was like, that's some fucking quick-ass journalistic rapping. Like, that song came out the next day, okay? Like, that's a fucking turnaround and a half. Because Kanye probably wouldn't have rapped that if it didn't go the way it did, you know?
Right.
So, all things considered, that was really impressive on my end. I get this a 4.5 on 5. It's a cool track. It's okay. It's not as good as Kids See Ghosts.
Overall, I think it's a nice positive way to end the track. It kind of just gives you this, you quoted the line that I was going to quote, everybody wants world peace till your niece gets shot in the dome piece, all that. But overall, I think I like how Kid Cudi had this, like, positive overall energy in the track to try to leave us on this journey through this ghost town, this weird trippy adventure, and trying to still give back that positive outlook and peace. And it's weird because with the dome piece line, it's like the Feel the Love with the whole gun sounds kind of makes sense now. Like when you connect the two songs together with the consistent violence and everything, like that's cool. That I thought of. That was really interesting. I gave it a 4. It's not a bad track. It's not as good as Kids See Ghosts. And I think that it's supposed to leave you with this peaceful feeling, in a sense.
All right, cool. So let's wrap up this little part of the review quick. So to close up, I gave Kids See Ghosts a 4.53. I really like this project. There are a couple songs that I feel like were a little out there, maybe a little experimental, not my favorites, but Feel the Love, like it just starts you off so strong. Freeee is just, you feel it, right? Like the energy is so good. Kids See Ghosts, Cudi Montage, like 4 of these songs to me of the 7 are like really good. And the ones that aren't like really good, they're still good, right? Altogether, it's a project that's really well made. I think that it shows the versatility of Kanye's vision as a producer, and it's cool to have that Kid Cudi effect. They sound pretty cool together. I know a lot of people wanted more Cudi, whatever. I thought the blend between these two guys' style really complemented each other, and had it just been Kid Cudi, it would have been kind of too much of that, and had it just been Kanye, well, we just got Ye, so, you know, like, it would have, why wasn't it on Ye? You know? So this was cool. I like this.
Overall, I gave the album a 4.2. It came up to a 4.17, rounded it off. I enjoy it. I think that there's still more, a few more listens that I need to go through back on the album to kind of grasp everything. There is a lot of sound to it. There is a lot of, like, extreme, exaggerated moving around, and it gives you this trippy adventure, and like I think that's part of what they're trying to also do, keeping the space theme with Kid Cudi, keeping all the multiple themes Kanye has throughout the years. They really blended it together nicely. I wasn't actually aware that people wanted more Kid Cudi. I think that I agree with you.
I saw a couple quick things in headlines and
I
shit.
think both of them on the track, from what they did, was really great. By the way, there's only 3 features on this entire album. So it's Ty Dolla $ign, Yasiin Bey, and Pusha T. Like, there isn't any real other featured artist besides the group.
On the same time, it's not just a solo artist, so collectively the workload is split between the two. Anyway,
Right.
Which is fine. But I get what you're saying.
I just want to say, like, as per other like albums we've had, this one is legitimately only just 3 other separate artists. Overall, the project is great. Everything matches together. And then my only last point is, when you finally finish the album, the cover to me made sense.
All right, cool. So what will take no time at all for you, but a few minutes for us. We're going to zip and come back and ready to talk about the next one. And we're back. Chris, please introduce the second album we will be talking about this evening. Well, the second short album.
For the second project, we went with Nasir album.
Alright, so we're acquainted with Nas. We've covered both Illmatic and It Was Written at this point, and we are not so acquainted with new Nas. My most recent Nas track that I can think of is the Nas album Done. It took a couple years after that to be done. And then, like, President is Black. I'm not really, like, that familiar with the later end of Nas's career, which we'll probably discover as we go through.
Didn't he do I know he did like a Rasta album with Damian Marley.
I don't know. I just said I don't know.
He did that.
Maybe he did. But so I'm just saying, for me, it's like whatever. But like Nas is one of those names where it's like, ooh, the album's coming. Apparently, Kanye promised Obama that he'd produce Nas's next album. Turned out that happened. That was truth. There was a listening party on Thursday evening with a promise of this fucking album coming on Friday. And guess what? It came on Saturday. So, like, I did not get to spend as much time with this Nas album as I would have liked. All of my Friday that I normally like to get at least one good listen in on didn't
it came out on Friday.
No, the leaked album listening.
No, it was out on Spotify at 10:30 at night on Friday.
Oh, thanks. I saw it hit Tidal a couple hours before that. But, like, it was more like at that point I just wasn't able to really give it the... Anyway, so I basically listened to the project 4 separate times today. That's it. 4 times of listening to the album today. That's what I'm running on.
I'm on 2.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know. If you guys want more context in terms of, I guess, our experiences with this with Nas in general, you can check out one of our other reviews. I'll link to one of them in the top corner. If I forgot, just type Nas behind that suit into the search bar, and you'll definitely find some of the stuff we've done. But I think we should just move in then and talk about this album cover and the name. So Nasir is his first name, and it's 7 songs long.
And doesn't it stand for Son of God or God's Son?
I think that's what it means. The album cover is a photo taken by Mary Ellen Mark for a news feature in the November 1988 issue of Texas Monthly magazine. The article is titled The War Zone and is a field report from a neighborhood in Dallas where the crack drug trade had been taken hold. I stole that from an article. It wasn't from Genius. Don't remember what article it was from. I probably should have remembered that. But when you look at this picture, it's like right up there with the Daytona album cover. You got a bunch of kids. 2 of them are holding fucking guns next to a sign that's basically says no loitering or whatever, or bad shit's going to happen to you.
Which I have a theory on that. It kind of shows, and oh my God, it kind of shows like a little bit of gangsterism. In terms of like chilling on the corner, being on the block at such a young age, where you're not supposed to be loitering or trespassing. I kind of get this feeling like the environment and like like having to be protecting yourself, having to be on the streets, having to loiter, trespass, and do what you got to do to survive a little bit.
I mean, I think it's just trying to show these are fucking kids with guns in the middle of crack tour in 1988. Like, this is the worst of the situation.
Right.
It's like one of those shocking photos where, like, you can't deny there isn't a problem when you see a picture like this where these kids are like fucking 8 to 10 years old looking, whatever. And
doesn't one of them look like Nas as a kid? I feel like the kid to the second to last kid on the right with his hands up. I feel like that looks like Nas, like the same type of face that was on his Illmatic.
Well, I feel like it was definitely a throwback to the idea of where it came from, Illmatic. But like, I think it's also apparently this type of reporting was happening all the time. So like, I mean, it's just such a powerful picture, right? This brick wall, these kids lined up, hands up. 2 of them have guns, like.
One of them's turned around. One of them's facing the.
2 of them are facing the wall. 3 of them are facing you. It's just like one of them is not even wearing a shirt. It's fucking powerful. It doesn't need to say anything. It's one of those album covers where you won't forget it because it's one of those images. It's like if you haven't seen the movie City of God, it's like as fucked up as that movie in terms of like how powerful it feels.
But it also gives you this sense that the album's gonna be like very politically driven as well. Like you're talking, like you have kids, you got the environment, you got the entire thing. So you get this sense that Nas is about to go on this like really knowledge driven fucking.
But I feel like I heard the word Nas and I expected that, right?
Of course.
And then the title Nasir I feel is a bit disappointing. It's almost like a self-titled album. Okay. I mean, it's strange with that picture to have that title to me, but maybe it's kind of signifying that who he is a representation of that. Okay, fine, whatever. Doesn't
or
do a lot
God's
for me.
sons, you know, if you want to maybe make it plural with the multiple kids in the photo.
Okay, I guess there's
like
something
the sons
there.
of God, and you know.
Still, I don't like it as much. It's my least favorite. It's as bad as Ye. We'll say that Ye and Nasir are both not great album titles to me.
You say that, but you sent me a photo of like a thing you edited from
Yeah,
Kanye.
because Kanye West made the fucking like editor of the cover. I wasn't talking about the cover. I was talking about the title. Yay. It's a bad title.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, let's get into this one. Not for radio. That's what our show is.
Niggas knew you from your past. Got all kinds of guys saying we go way back.
Guess what? Kanye West is not the sole producer of this album in terms of beats. Other people helped Kanye out on this project too. Thought it was worth sharing it. Before we get into it, there's a theme to this album that Kanye shared, or one of them shared over Twitter. They shared the Urban Dictionary definition of the 7 deadly sins. So what that basically worked out to being is that each one of these songs is built off of one of the 7 deadly sins. So how do you feel about this track, Chris? And can you guess what sin it is?
No, I cannot guess what sin it is. Actually, from what I got from the song that's not for radio, I felt like Nas is kind of asserting his position of being one of the greatest, but he's also trying to also throw in different political like issues that he also wants to talk about. One line says, "Shoot the ballot box, no voter cards. They all frauds."
I swear I saw somebody on my Facebook who's one of those guys who loves Trump, share a meme to promote the idea of registered voting cards to avoid voter fraud. I couldn't believe that was a real thing. Go on.
Jeez. But that was like referencing the 2016 election of how Trump still won, even though Hillary had the popular vote. Kind of seems like there was like a little bit of a scandal that was going on. I like when he said, and then he kind of goes to explain about how now that he's like rich and famous, and that he's got this title above him. He goes like, all of a sudden, frontin' knew you from your past, got all kinds of guys saying we go way back. People are trying to be his friends again, trying to connect with him after he's been doing this for years and got his status and got his respect up. He's not trying to fuck with them anymore. He's just like, he doesn't need that. That's some fake bullshit to him. Another kind of like political line in verse 2. He says, SWAT was created to stop the Panthers. Glocks were created to murder enhancement for hunting men circumstances. That was really powerful. As per the Black Panther movement, fighting for the rights of black people and trying to fight for the equality. The government created the SWAT to stop them, bring them down, and then the whole getting the guns in the hood theory, where the FBI, CIA brought the guns to the hood. Those were just for, as the theory goes, it's like there was guns in the hood so that they can kill each other off and not have to governments don't have to worry about the projects, the hoods, the neighborhoods. I guess you could say like the black neighborhoods. I like in the chorus, if I'm not mistaken, it's Kanye on the chorus going, I think they're scared. No, it's a girl.
It's 070 Shake, dude.
Right. Going, I think they're scared of us, kind of like conceptualizing that all of this oppression towards black people, to black communities, are because of the fact that we're actually fear them, fear their abilities of what they can do, their mentalities, their thoughts, their morals. Dude, like it's a really great fucking way to start the album. Really great way to conceptualize what he's gonna be. From what I understood before the seven sins thing, I guess it's like a lot of just hardcore political driven bars that he's gonna be dropping. I gave it a 4.5 on 5. Also, when he goes, it's Escobar season, I didn't realize Escobar was his street given name.
It's his Woo Bambino name.
Right? I didn't know that. That was cool. Also kind of gives him this like really mafioso complex,
But it was present all over it was written. Were you not there for that review?
I didn't really enjoy it was written, so I probably don't remember.
I wasn't paying attention. That's okay. I'm being a shit. They're going to get mad at me.
It's all right. I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
All right. I definitely would like to add a lot to what Chris said, because, I mean, with the idea of the 7 deadly sins in mind, it's worth mentioning this one as pride. And even before I knew that theory, this song was super clear, to me at least, what he was trying to say. So the song is kind of like pointing out that, like, you need to have pride in what actually is worth having pride in. So, I mean, it's really exemplified in, like, the second verse. So, like, to the Catholics, Moors, Masons, whatever, motherfuckers, John Hanson was not the first black pres to make it. Abe Lincoln did not free the enslaved, which is true. Abe Lincoln only freed the slaves because it was political. Whatever his personal feelings, society, he didn't do it for, like, some noble reasons and shit. Progress was made because we forced the proclamation, as in the strength of black people made that happen. If it was not for them, it would not have happened. It wasn't like some great move, you know? Everything Chris said about that, it's important to point out all the gun conspiracy stuff, because immediately after he points out Edgar Hoover was black, so the guy who started the FBI, right? And that was a theory I didn't even know existed till then. Then he says Willie Lynch was a myth. So Willie Lynch, for those who don't know, is an alleged slave owner who, like, wrote this speech or letter or something that basically created the premise of systematic racism, of the idea of teaching blacks to hate each other, and kind of referencing what was previously just said as a manifestation of the Willie Lynch thing. From what I've looked into it, there's no actual hard evidence that this ever happened. There's a lot of speculative assumptions that it happened. So you may have evidence from a book or something, but when people who have otherwise researched it seem to have looked into the situation, nobody could find proof that Willie Lynch existed, so he's saying it's a myth. He's saying the Colombians created crack and then the government made stacks because that's the American way, but that it wasn't really like the Americans invented it to be like blah, blah, blah. They just monopolized on opportunity, which is a more realistic thing than, like, I guess some of the narratives that get driven. Reagan had Alzheimer's, that's true. Fox News was started by a black Jew, also true, and then fuck you too, which is a great little ad-lib. Convinced my experiences were meant to be. Helps me navigate as they validate the treachery. Felt established fake as he smile, handshake questionable. So the whole first verse kind of creates the context of this like negative fucking world that we're living in, right? You know, like they tried to Hyman Roth me, which I believe is to take out your character or your personality. John Fitzgerald me. The industry never bought me. Fear will make you reveal who you really are. We're in a very fearful time and stuff's going on. Be solid. Your foes hold you in regard. This ain't knowledge. This is intent. Anyway, going in, and he's kind of like putting out almost this like negative. Everyone's trying to take out Nas because he's got the real message. Whatever. I think that might be a little more apt in the first part. But I think the whole second part ties into the pride thing because he's saying you shouldn't be like basically creating fake news propaganda tales to spin your story. There's enough real shit to like take pride in as a black person, and we should also own the negative parts of it, like the fact that we might be responsible for the FBI and like we, I say black people from the perspective of Nas, might be responsible for like the FBI and Fox News. Like there's some culpability involved here, but like by glossing over it and making everything sound like these fake news narratives, it's not good pride. It's like pride gets twisted. And I think it's a really interesting song. So the first verse kind of shows his pride, and the second verse kind of comments on the pride of society and how it's corrupt a little bit. And then it goes into, like, Chris is right. The chorus is fucking stellar. It's really awesome. And then Puff Daddy does the least annoying thing I've ever heard him do, where he goes on about how they're like really great. And we as white people are very fortunate that black people are compassionate, caring, and patient, because all things considered, y'all should have taken us out by now.
I just want to say something with the puffy little rant at the end. It didn't annoy me only because I listened to Life After Death. He had like a similar type of sporadic rant on one of Biggie's tracks. And I think that like, well, no, the reason why I'm saying it is because if without that knowledge, this would have annoyed me the way he kind of like, sporadically.
But like it totally like fit the song.
It does fit. It does fit. I'm not saying it doesn't fit. Like, I just feel like it was so kind of just like, whoa, okay, Puff, like where do you come from? But then I think back and I'm like, oh, I've heard this type of thing done before. I mean, it's
so much like there's so even without you having heard that before.
Right.
We're talking about one of the potential billionaires of King Raps of New York going up to Nas, another legend, and saying, "Don't worry, bro, I validate you." That is totally like not far-fetched or weird or anything. Like I don't know. I felt that statement was a little strange. I didn't think that required knowledge of Puff Daddy's work in the 90s, whatever, you know.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, like, just, like, the rant part, like, just the sporadic rant part. Like, I heard it before, and I was like, oh, okay, this isn't, like, just a new shock to me. I was just a point I was giving out, that's all.
Okay. Anyway, I gave this track a 5. I thought it was fucking cool. I thought it was a good way to start the album. It was great production. Nas comes in and he's exactly the kind of lyrical you're like hoping for when you hear Nas. The deep you're hoping for when you hear Nas. It was everything I wanted. All right. I don't know if you gave a grade. So cops shot the kid, because I assume you did. Not shot the kid, but
boxing in the street. Shot the cop, shot the kid. Crack the hydrant in the heat. Shot the cop, shot the kid. The cop calls.
It's off with Richard Pryor telling us a little bit of a story about how the cops would like enforce curfews because they're having too much fun. Blah blah blah, and then literally the beat is Slick Rick's "The cop shot the kid" line from Kid Story, and it's just the cop shot the kid, and then that's it. And it's also the hook. When that fucking flips into that hook, he manages to make it sound completely different. elevated, next level shit.
Yep.
Somehow, it's one of the nicest hooks that you'll hear in a while, and it's still just the beat of Slick Rick's repetition, but metamorphized into something brand new and elevated, and it really fits with this track.
I just think it was a little bit annoying to have it repeated like that, but
I think it's the political point. Like, I mean, you got to think about it.
I do.
There's probably been more shootings of black kids by police than the number of times he said it on that song in like the last couple of years.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Right? Like just think about it from that point of view.
Yeah. No, absolutely. With that point of view, I completely agree. I just like in a musical track point of view, I'm just like it does kind of bother. It does kind of take points away from not points away. I don't want to say that. It's hard for me to go back to this track knowing that that's going to be a consistent thing all the time.
I get where you're coming from, and I do find it's a little bit jarring at first. Like it's basically the reason I didn't give the song a 5 up front. It is that beat is a little bit hard to absorb.
Just to be clear, I gave this song a 4.9.
I gave it a 4.75 because I don't know that it's quite 4.9. But yo, lyrically, it's fucking cool. Like, I don't want to hurt nobody. We just came here to party. It's a good start, you know. It's
also kind of, if you listen to it properly, it's sampling the la-di-da-di type of...
It's sort of repurposing la-di-da-di. We like to party, something, we come to hurt nobody. So it's still kind of paying further homage to Slick Rick. You're right.
Well, he also does mention in an interview, like, he really does have, like, this passion. Like, he was inspired by Slick Rick. Yeah. Like, it's one of his OGs, you know.
And he used the beat. That was Slick. Anyway, so see a few dames, exchange some names. So, you know, whatever. I'm a top shot at kid, stay in your lane. Normal stuff, blah, blah, blah. The cop shot the kid, same old scene. That's the kid who was just trying to get laid and shit, the party and be whatever. Pour out a little liquor, champagne for the pain. Slap boxing in the street, crack the hydrant in the heat. And it's like, fuck, eh? Like,
but it also sounds like the way he said cop shot the kid throughout that verse. I feel like he's saying it he is bringing emphasis to that point, but it's also kind of nonchalant, like it happens. Like, it's just another day in the hood, kid got shot.
Yeah, literally, because the next line is same old scene. Cop cars on the creep doing their rounds up. We just watch for the sweep. Yeah, it's hotter than July and the summer went die. It's the summer went die. Together we be strong, but forever we divide.
Isn't it? This is the summer that die. This is the summer that ride.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah. And then together we be strong, but forever we divide. It's just like, imagine if like the whole community mounted together and whatever, but instead, because of the circumstances and the environment and maybe some of the issues touched upon in the last song, there's division.
Actually, to even take that another step further in terms of the deepness, I don't know if this is the line right after, but Nas goes, white kids are brought in alive, black kids get hit with 5.
Yeah, that definitely comes in. It's a little bit further down. Right? No, I mean, it might be the next line. Anyway, so y'all are blowing my high. I like that type of shit is killing my vibe. So the fact that there's division and his community's kind of like flipping on each other, then it goes into that as well.
White kids are brought in alive, black kids get hit with 5, which is just a really like I've seen enough of it in my life to understand that it's a real thing, even here in Montreal, even though people here might not want to believe it's a real thing. But I'm not saying it's not a real thing. I just never noticed it. Like, if you see on TV, like for example, like the Brock Turner thing, I saw that happen and nothing really bad happened to that kid.
I've had a few moments with police when I was younger where I know by playing what I used to call the innocent white boy card, I got off without tickets. I played it. Like, I knew what I was doing. I was like 19, 20, and cops would let me off because I was cute and innocent and like safe and cuddly and shit. And I would joke about it because I would not like ignorantly, I guess, joke about it with my black friends, but be like, yo, it's fucked up. Because like I realized at a certain point that would never happen to my black friends. That would just never happen. All those tickets that I didn't have to pay, well, that's money that's not going into a black person's saving account per se. And imagine the car got impounded or whatever, you know, it just stacks and it's a really shitty situation. Man, at the end reminds me of Emmett Till. Let's remind him why Cap kneels. Oof. Because Emmett Till is the 14-year-old black kid who got hung because they thought he was flirting with a white chick who later admitted it never happened. Fucking disgusting past that we have as white people. But and then honestly, the Colin Kaepernick kneeling thing, like, honestly, y'all take football too fucking seriously, and you take national anthems too fucking seriously. Fuck, like I'm not nationalistic. I could not care less about shitting on my flag or my national anthem.
But hold on, just question.
Personally,
do you think he's shitting on the flag by kneeling? Because there's two sides, right? Like people are like, oh, if you're not standing, but like kneeling is also another like
straight up. People don't want to like really listen to the situation will say what they want because it's offensive to their sense of tradition. Okay. So we traditionally stand for the national anthem. Look, I have sat through a couple of them in my life. Like, I respect my country, and now as an adult I will, at least in public, stand and sing and stuff, but in private I won't. I love my country only insofar as I do, to the point where if they took my right to protest and they got in my way, if they told me to protest peacefully and then I did, and then they fired me and didn't hire me again because of my peaceful protest that was really kind of interesting, I'd be kind of pissed is all I'm trying to say. But still, the dude was super humble. Like, look, cops are still doing their shit. I'm not going to say that stuff hasn't changed in some places, but you still, like, look, in Montreal, Quebec, last week, Grand Prix weekend, dude got maced in the fucking face. Unnecessarily, because all these French Quebec cops who've never seen black people were scared of the guy. It was fucking disgusting and shameful to see that happen.
Never seen black people?
That was
like that's a statement.
I don't know if it's an official statement, but it was like the realization that these are a lot of people who have never been to Montreal before, who get assigned in Montreal, and they just assume shit based off of what they are, you know?
I just feel like, now again, that's why I asked you if it was an official statement, because just you've seen TV, you've seen movies.
No, you haven't. If you come from Hicktown, Quebec, you assume that because you have seen TV.
So wait,
you know what I found out?
You're telling me Hicktown, Quebec.
Hold up, they never had. There was no French version of Bill Nye the Science Guy or Beekman's World. They didn't even get a science show growing up. Okay, so there was no Bill Nye for the little Quebec children. Okay, so it's just
you say that. It's just funny you say Bill Nye because I didn't know who Bill Nye was. I didn't have him either, but I come from the world where I should know.
So we grew up with like Bill Nye the Science Guy, taught us all sorts of science shit.
I know.
I know about momentum because of him. And there was no French equivalent, I found out this week. So to make the assumption that they have the same level of exposure that you do is, in my opinion, an ignorant move.
Fair. I just think like.
But like, check it. You spent your whole life in a city where there are no black people. You go to a station.
That doesn't make sense to me. Like,
because you come from a metropolis.
Okay.
You come from a place where multiculturalism is fucking prevalent. If you are coming from small,
I'm also half.
But if you come from a small town that only speaks French, that has no reason for anybody to ever go there.
Okay.
And it's the same people who've been there for 200 years.
Yeah.
That's what happens. They have no cultural training. Anyway, that's a huge tangent. I hope y'all enjoyed that or something. I
need to learn sometimes, guys.
I mean, I feel very passionate about these subjects. I know somebody who had a police harassment case, and I don't know, I guess it was a little close to home. And then you got, just in the second part of it, stay tuned up and down your timeline. This fake news people is all lying. Money is being made when a mom cries. Won't be satisfied till we all die.
Tell me, who do we call to report crime if 911 doing the drive-by? Just want to throw that in there.
And then he can't abide by that. And, you know, it just kind of goes on from there. I think we've talked about this song for a fair bit now. But it's that strong and it's that powerful, right? To me, at least. I think it's fucking next level.
It is.
Can you guess which of the 7 sins this is? Do you know the 7 sins?
Lust, greed, pride. I don't.
This one is wrath.
Man, I was going somewhere towards like anger,
society, and
stuff,
and that's pretty cool, right? That you can actually identify that.
I didn't know wrath was actually a sin, though. I thought it was another word.
But it's unnecessary and unpointed, rage-filled anger. It's not a good type of anger.
Fair. One thing I want to say though, Kanye's verse, second half. Kanye goes, "Won't be satisfied till we die. Tell them who do we port regret." Isn't that Kanye?
You might be right.
I'm pretty sure that's Kanye.
Maybe.
Yeah, I even wrote Kanye right next to it because he's on verse 2.
Maybe you're right.
Because Kanye's second half of the verse is a complete double entendre because he's basically Cop killed the black kid who was driving and got pulled over an argument about the kid being quote unquote a little bit high and driving. Cop claims it was self-defense. Case closed because the kid driving was under the influence, so the case never got resolved because of that. And it's a whole big double entendre.
I did not write down that it was Kanye. I feel so dumb right now.
And it's crazy because I didn't write down the whole verse because I didn't want to like get nipped for that, but like the whole second half of his verse is just this whole story that plays out like that, and it's really crazy, expressing like how like black folk get pulled over way more than white folk, how over like a little bit of like there's a line in there where he goes, oh, it's just a little hit. We don't know if it's like whatever smokable product, but it's still like cops are chasing down these people. They're looking out for these people, and it's just the whole verse was crazy. But the only thing I gave it a 4.9 again. The only thing that really it is just replay value, knowing that the cop shot the kid.
The thing is it really grew on me. The cop shot the kid thing, like it really grew on me as I listened to it more. But at the very last thing you hear in this song is the next line in the Slick Rick song, which is the cop shot the kids. I still hear him scream.
No, that's throughout the song as well. At the end, it's altered. Yeah, it's altered. It's altered. You read it. The first cop shot the kid, cop shot the kid, cop shot the kid. At the very end, before Nas comes in, it goes, I still hear him scream. But it's altered. It's altered in a voice, and it does it on the second time as well before Kanye.
Yeah, but cleanly saying it.
Fair. I'm gonna say cleanly.
I didn't notice it the cleanly, first two
but
times,
he did say it.
That's fine. But like, I feel like it's just the way that it ended on that line. Like, it just resonates with you. It's a good one. The next track was renamed to White Label.
A vet styling in Met Gala, tuna salad from La Scala, black sweat swallow.
I know I've seen this one by 3 separate names, just to throw it out. That's why I came in with that. This one ended up being called White Label. It is not the name that was on the whiteboard, so it's the only one that didn't seem to be the name that was on the whiteboard. It had a different name though. I can't see us now or whatever. It's like something in the sample that's used in this song, and the sample is from a cover song by Iranian singer Sharam Shapare of Prison Song, originally written for the 1974 solo album by Graham Nash from Cosby, Stills, Nash & Young.
Yep.
Fun facts, because I'm trying to care more about the fun facts. Yeah, I mean, how'd you feel about this one?
Well, I liked the little intro where you got Mano flexing on Instagram. He bought like a new tester, diamond something, and he's just kind of showing off what he's got, and they use that to loop to use that as to intro the song. From what I understand, I think this might be, if it's a sin, I think greed.
Close. It's not greed though. See, greed is the desire, and it's greed is like you want something else. It's another word that's similar to greed.
So the reason why I'm a little confused is because of a line that Nas says, and he goes, $1 million cash for a Nas feature. Nas cheaper. Do it for free if you do it for me. 52 bar verse if the beat is moving me. Now, that's why I'm a little skeptical on greed, because he doesn't seem to be greedy here. He's like, hey, I'll take the money if you want a Nas feature, but I'm also the type of person who, if you're gonna do me a verse, I'll do you a verse, because I do it for the music. And as per, like, if your beat just makes me want to move, I'll even do it for free and save you some cash.
Yes,
right.
But the sin is gluttony, which is the excessive indulgence in things. So if you really rethink that, the idea that $1 million is an offering, it's an excessive indulgence amounts that he considers or whatever. But you really see it more on like Yvette styling at the Met Gala, tuna salad from La Scala, black sweat swallow, a lot of reefer, got it hard to quit, the bottom feeder, lobster eater, when I fast I see Elijah's features, $1 million, you know. So it's like you get the sense that it's the flashy, the debonair, the posh life that's coming through. And
the fast lane.
Yeah, but the desire for abundance and honestly more, you know, I do like the part where he references when I'm still losing sleep next to Jet's Beauty of the Week 1993. That was a great line because I like the Genius annotation where it just shows this picture of one of these girls. So it's just like an old man way of describing a hot girl. And I thought that was cool. And the odds is that what you love can kill you, like a heart physician who dies from a heart attack. I know the consumer behavior. I target that. You impress with what they're wearing. I started that. And so the lavish wearing, the styles and stuff, and he was mentioning Guess jeans back when Guess jeans was hot and stuff. So he was one of those earlier guys in that mafioso flashy shit, and he was involved in that. But it's still gluttony, it's still excess, it's still.
So if like gluttony is the excessiveness of things, then what is the whole part of like thanking Kanye at the end of it? Because he basically shouts out like,
I feel like
Kanye
in these songs it's based off of the sin and he's describing parts of the sin, but he's not necessarily subscribing that he is guilty of the sin now. So I think he's kind of showing is this the one where he talks about how he's fucking worthless without a beat and whatnot and thanks Kanye? Or no, that might be a different one. But anyway, it's kind of terrific. The product of Slick Rick. Somebody would have told me then I would have come out of this shit rich. It started for business. I would have thought there was play and I ran with all that weight that was weighing. A light bulb switched in my mind from the classes I cut. Just the spaz putting wax in a blunt. And he kind of, I don't know.
Oh, he moved up to wax.
I guess I just got the sense that in general it's kind of showing that rugged, fast lane life that he was living, a little bit more of that vibe, but really with the intent of showing that excess. That is part of it, and showing how, in a sense, it's a sin. So these songs seem to document a little bit of the sin involved in it.
Kind of
so
like
if you
living
think
the fast life is a sin,
or
am I stretching?
Well, if you're trying to pursue, like if nothing is ever enough, there's the problem. So even if you go to the last one, the wrath is a problem when you start sharing fake news and you start distorting the truth, which is the same thing that was the problem with the pride. So again, when you let these things go too far, they cause some harm.
So like if you cop a milli and then that milli is not enough, that's what gluttony is?
Yes, and then if you now need 2 millis and whatever, and it's just never enough. And I feel like that's the indulgence that's showing here. But
so it's like appreciate the little things, like appreciate what you have, appreciate yourself for what you got and what you've already worked for,
and like maybe understand that enough is enough sometimes. But look, I give this one a 4. I don't like it as much as the other two. The beat's just not as cool for me. I guess Nas sound is like whatever on it. The subject matter it's kind of like it doesn't go lavish enough to be fucking fun with it. And it's not critical enough to be fun with it in that direction either. It's kind of this lukewarm feeling. So it's a 4. Nas does a decent job, but I could deal with not hearing this one again.
I landed it at a 4 as well. I didn't even like forget the sins. I just felt like he was just kind of boasting about balling. And then he ends off the track with like thanking Kanye for the production and like... Well, actually, maybe thanking Kanye is like excessively putting out 5 albums in 1 month and like... all the work that they've been doing, all the excessive work that they've been doing, it's not enough. They have to do this and that. Like,
I think it was more just he shouted out his producer in more of a classic hip-hop sense.
Fair enough, 4 on 5.
Alors, la prochaine chanson, il s'appelle Bonjour. Et c'est très important qu'on continue en français pour cette petite portion de le podcast.
No.
Crackheads still owe me from 89 fixings, having drinks in Vegas.
It's comment allez-vous? Okay, that's how you fucking say it. It was so painful. Like, it hurt me to hear the fucking butchering of French on this song, man. Like a little bit of effort to like try to pronounce it right. Like the idea.
See, I don't care. I hate the French language.
I love it. Okay, look, the idea is French is the language of romance and love and all that. And I agree. It's a beautiful fucking language. Maybe not so much from the Quebec side of it, but when you really go to France or other places that speak French, it's gorgeous. C'est une langue qui est comme belle. C'est quand tu parles en français. Okay, I'll stop. But like, we live in Quebec. You need to speak French to survive here.
But they just sound so rugged and everybody sounds so angry.
When Quebecers are angry and speaking French like that.
No,
I'm sorry.
Every Quebecer I speak to, unless they're always angry at me or I just piss them off.
Or maybe they are angry. Maybe it's you. I've heard plenty of people, especially if she's cute, speaking French, and it's amazing. All I'm trying to say is there were great advantages in life to become bilingual, and that is one of them, so I get where the fuck Nas is coming from. Guess what sin this one is about?
Lust.
Oh, it is. It is lust.
Because he seems to be going on dates with a lot of French
Well,
women.
to be fair, lust does transcend sex, but it's commonly used for sex. It's really just the insatiable desire for things is lust. It's more of a granular term. Now you know. But yeah, so aside from the French, and I'm telling you, that French pronunciation lost some points because it really irked me. It's not that hard to try to pronounce it even close to... It's just not that hard. Anyway, I should be more mature. Sure, I'm spoiled. Hit up the south of France after tour. Bonjour. At least he said bonjour appropriately. I didn't hate it. How many girls pre-bait right before they date? Okay, so she can have restraint. She will get slayed. So you're going to smash. All right, Nas, I get it. Bonjour. You're going to voulez-vous coucher avec elle?
Well, I think there's a little bit more to that because I think the whole part of it is like pre-baiting to not have that urge so that when it does, like if she does get quote-unquote slayed, it's more of like a connectional thing and not just I want to fuck. Because
I took it like the complete opposite. Like in light of the fact that she'll try to resist, his game is so powerful, he's just going to kill it.
I mean, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe you're right. I might be wrong on
I'm
this.
just thinking, like, if you're going to
satisfy
yourself before you go to a date, you're just kind of like,
well, I feel like
mellow.
I don't feel like it was like satisfy yourself. Maybe it is.
Well, she pre-baits. She pre-masturbated before she went on the date.
Is that a term?
Well, that's what he's saying.
I've never heard pre-bait before.
Yeah, because Nas made it up. Nas is God. That's what it is. But
is that what it is?
Yeah, if you read the annotation,
I don't trust the annotations blindly. Okay,
look,
even
Nas annotation. Forget the annotation. How many women pre-bait before they go on a date? What else? What other bait word do you know that would represent the pre-bait part before a date? I mean, I just put it together.
Set themselves up to like say no ahead of time, like set up all the baits of the traps and shit.
I don't know, man. When he
like,
said
what
it,
if, what if it's
went,
what if it's not
a cool concept.
What if it's not PRE-bait? What if it's PRE space BAIT?
Maybe
that would change the whole context.
It would. But you know what? To actually think about it, though, it's a cool concept to think because it's like I like when you go on a date with a girl or guy or whatever, 2018, and a lot of the time, I guess for me, I'm thinking I'm trying to hope, and at the end of the date, this is such and such what's going to happen. But now Nas is kind of throwing out that concept, like, well, what if she's not into you? You just have to play a better game. You know what I mean?
What if
like,
she diddles herself so that she won't do it? That's what you're saying.
Well, that too. Maybe that's it. Maybe she's.
You probably still need better game. So he wants her ass the fattest. He beats it. Thriller jacket. Get it? Because beat it is on Thriller. I think. A street metaphor. If your dog piss on the floor, put his nose in it. I'm like, this is just fucking great.
That is so bad because he's basically saying he can smell the other people off of her.
Yeah. It's fucking terrible. Eat at Select Your Kitchen. Speak out our next intentions over creamy polenta. Okay, like either way, the song goes on. I hate how they sing in French. I really do. Vacation, twisted, whatever, happened, missed it. Vacations I didn't like, put myself through a guilt trip. Bonjour, all these beautiful places, but the cities, whatever. Then it gets a little more serious, a little more political. You're wealthy when your kid's upbringing is better than yours. I love that fucking line, though.
Doesn't he also reference, like, be careful who you impregnate, because that's a whole lot of stress you can't take, and it's, like, referencing his
that comes right after that.
that.
Could be gone in a minute if we don't invest it. All this money we getting could be gone in a minute if we don't invest it. We long-term affected. Watch you getting pregnant. That's long-term stressing. I got a mill for every bump on your face. Okay.
Although
that's what I call a blessing.
To be honest,
flexing.
And part of the whole sin of lust, and lust revolves around sexual acts and stuff like that.
It doesn't solely like that's. I think he takes it away and he granularizes lust a little bit, but it's predominantly used to describe sex. Stuff, but it inherently just means the excessive desire, like a consumptive desire for anything. Like I can lust a career,
right,
and that's still lust. It's even kind of like envy and greed.
Fair. The reason why I'm saying it though is because he's also kind of showing you the outcomes of what lust could also do, aka if we're taking in the sexual term, you sleep with somebody, they get pregnant, and now you have to deal with that. So I like how Nas gave us like these different, in the two first verses, the two lustful scenarios, taking you out to dinner, different kitchens, la la la, it's all beautiful. And then he's like, but look, there's a consequence when you're fucking around like this, and such is the case, referencing his personal experience that he may be dealing with.
Yeah, and then Tony... Is it the world famous Tony Williams, or is it just Tony Williams? Sometimes you see both. I don't know how he's officially credited. But he croons at the end and talks about the lady all singy and whatnot. I give it a 4.25. This whole song felt kind of lame compared to some of the other ones. It's an okay subject matter. The French really bothered me. I don't know why it did. I don't know if that's something that's fair, but that's just kind of what happened.
I want to take a moment to also just talk about the beat. It has this like piano loop in it that's really, really nice. It like the whole song in terms of like also speaking about romantic dates and stuff like that, taking out to dinner, you do kind of get this like this restaurant-y musical feel, like a very high-end 5-star restaurant, and you got that classical music kind of in the background, those like chimes making you kind of feel like really setting that mood. And then suddenly when he does flip up in the third verse and starts giving you like consequences of what, you know, certain lustful things may have caused or whatever, the beat slightly changes to a more little bit of like a dramatic send tone, kind of like the date's kind of screwed up now and shit's getting hectic, and the production so far has been impeccable to me. I really love what the music, like the actual sounds and the music and the instrumentals that are coming off of, I'm going to say there's both projects that we've already...
Yeah, but like, I got to say to counter that, something like White Label, I didn't want Nas on that. Something like this, I don't want to hear Nas on that. And that's where I'm at with the last two.
You mean like you don't want to hear Nas on this type of beat?
Yeah, like I don't think the choice of beats and the way the songs came out, I think part of why I don't like them is because Nas did this. And had they been other people or have they been different beats, I think I may have even liked the song more. But I think with not like it was a little hit or miss on some of these for me at least.
Fair.
Anyway,
I gave it a 4.
Next track, it's got everything.
Who was mob-minded, future Murcielago driving, to Lambo's got average on me.
I know I've said this before, but I don't really know who the fuck The Dream is. But fuck me, man, this was the song of this album. Like, when you saw 7 minutes or whatever, you were like, wait, what? This series of albums? That's fucking weird. But then you hear this intro part where, first of all, Kanye sings with The Dream on that pre-hook. Yep. If I had everything, I could change anything. And if I changed anything, I mean anything, I would change everything. Oh, yeah. And if you really just stop to focus in on those lines, usually people think about the 1 or 2 things they would want to change to fix the problems and stuff. And like they take it one step further and they go, look, everything's so fucked up. At the end of the day, if I was going to change some shit, I would reformat the fucking world and make it something completely new. And I get that feeling. I personally am driven by similar types of feelings. So those lyrics were super deep. And then when the dreams like Dark Boy, don't you cry, there's too much life inside those eyes. Don't let that face go waterfall until they learn to love you, scars and all. Dark boy, don't you die. They're just human. Let them lie. You just know your world. Speak your truth. It said, let them come to you for your love and your heart. And it's just like this like prayer almost to all the black children out there who are looking for role models or hope or something, and letting them know that let them learn to love you. They will. They're going to see it. It's going to be okay. It's going to make sense one day. It's not this forever. And it was just so beautifully done, no? Like, I don't know. I was fucking mesmerized by it.
I love the build-up of the instrumental, the beginning, the soft, again, more pianos, more melodic, and then it builds up, and you have this long intro breaking down the concept of the song. And then as soon as Nas comes in on that first verse, the beat changes. You got these drums. You got this like stomping feeling, like this like amplified positive feeling of marching forward to a better place is kind of what I got from this. But I'm gonna be completely honest right now. These verses are super fucking dense.
Nah, they're not that bad.
Like, for me personally, I feel like they were really dense and they're really great. But I had a lot of trouble like focusing and understanding the song. I kind of get this like. Because I kind of got like everybody's unique. Everybody, you know, is their own person.
When
right?
the media slings mud, we use it to build huts. Irrefutable facts, merciful, beautiful, black, beloved brother. You fail to embarrass him, harassing him to my life. Your life pales in comparison. So go write whatever blog messiness to whatever God. Do what's necessary. I'm never worried. Listen, vultures. I've been shackled by Western culture. Here, I'm getting the feeling that they're kind of commenting on how the media is preying on the culture to sell a narrative, to create stories, to paint pictures and stuff, all for profit, all for kind of the negative stuff, whereas Nas is kind of pure or whatever, and like he's like, I've elevated. When I look at your like dark ways of your almost like negativity, I feel like my life is just better than what you're existing in, you know? In Western culture specifically, then goes, you convince most of my people to live off emotion. That's why we competing death by that chrome barrel. You forgot the secrets. My Kilimanjaro bone marrow's the deepest, you know? So he's kind of pointing out that your society made my people kill each other, but our roots back to Africa are that fucking powerful. You can peep at the comments, but don't fall for that. We want freedom. I'm a scholar and almanac. People do everything to be involved in everything. Right? And that's fucking an interesting point. So he's pointing out that he's like, you know, don't look into the comment sections on these threads. Don't get caught up in this bullshit, right? He's smart enough to see through that thing. And people will literally just say or do anything or everything to be included. Inclusion is a hell of a drug. Some people have everything and they probably ever wanted in life and never have enough. Can you guess what fucking sin this song is? Greed. Some people want everything and can't have enough. Greed. Gluttony is excess.
I didn't know there was greed and gluttony.
Greed is they're very similar, but gluttony is about wanting like gluttony would be like you eat so you eat more than you should.
Like you get bloated.
Greed would be like I hoard the food in the cupboard. You know, like I want more. But they're very similar. I know
what greed is.
And that whole verse just kind of I think takes the idea of how people want to join in social causes and believe certain narratives put out by media destructiveness just to feel included because that's a sense of belonging. It's important. And I think that is the white people hating the blacks, the black folk who band together, all in the name of like fake shit. He's not talking about the real folk who stay educated. He's talking about the people who buy into stuff because of stuff like comment sections. Then that next verse is so fucking weird. It starts off, from the birth of a child, the world is foul, excursions on a certain child. Okay, so he's talking about how you have a baby that comes out. Should learn to take nothing personal. A parent hates to watch his baby's face taking his first immunization shots, but this is a great, the child's introduction to suffering and pain. So he's saying, like, you know, as a responsible parent, you take your kid and get them immunized with needles and shit. I'm gonna maybe criticize Nasir in a quick second. But so it's a cool idea that this baby who's trusting you to take it there is now experiencing pain for the first time from the doctor and stuff. And it's a good like shattering. So it now understands without words like what the world is all about. So nothing's explained or, you know, sent to the brain as communication. He's looking up at his parents' face like, I thought you would protect me from this scary place. Why'd you let them inject me? Who's going to know the side effects, how it's going to affect me? Come on, Nas. Don't tell me you don't believe in vaccination. Listen, vaccination stops diseases. If people stop getting vaccinated because of propaganda is bullshit, then diseases come back like is happening in America right now because people aren't getting vaccinated. So unless you want some old diseases to resurface in super fucking venomous things, learn some science and understand why vaccinations are not the shit that people say in memes. The autism fucking study was completely debunked as pure bullshit, and there's not been a single argument towards vaccination being bad that I've ever seen that was credible or good.
I think...
And that's if Nas was implying that vaccinations got negative side effects and we don't know what's in it, which is part of that narrative. Now, if he's criticizing that narrative, everything I said was just kind of backwards, and I apologize. But if he was legitimate about that, I don't know, because some people are against vaccinations, and I find that weird.
I think it might be a little bit of a play in trying to bring you into the mind of the kid of just paranoia and stress and fear, because not only is the kid experiencing pain for the first time, like physically, but that loyalty between the kid and the mother or father
all
has
that
also
I
been
would
broken
respect
too,
it until
right?
he alluded that last one line.
But
I took
again,
grievance with.
I literally, yes, I think it's like, Nas, come on, vaccinations
But
work.
I was saying if that's what he meant, because it's
Right.
not clear.
But I also like to think that maybe he's trying to just play this little role of the kid, trying to just like ask
Yeah.
questions. Like kids are like, you don't know what's gonna do to me. You don't know anything. No. Like as a kid would act.
Maybe you're right. Who knew I would grow to meet presidents that respect me? If Starbucks is bought by Nestle, please don't arrest me. Damn, that's an interesting line because
that's
I need
recent,
to use
too.
your restroom and I ain't buy no espresso. Soon enough, assume the cuffs the position. No to us since being the back of the bus. Sitting says screw that bus. Boycotted that bus out of business. The future's us, yet every citizen's in prison.
Total reference to what happened at Starbucks recently.
I don't actually know what happened to Starbucks.
I don't want to say the city, but
tell us.
two black guys walk into a Starbucks and they basically get arrested because they didn't. From what I understand, I don't think they bought anything. They were just there. Now I don't know if he
They used the bathroom.
I don't. That's what I'm saying. Like all I know is one, because they shut down all of the Starbuckses in Canada and in the States last week. Last week Thursday during Mural Fest, they shut down all the Starbucks for a better training facility to better train their employees to accommodate all races and ethnicities and stuff like that. Because the owner of Starbucks is like really appalled that these black guys were arrested for absolutely no reason in one of his establishments.
That's at least good.
Now, my question though is, Nas mentions Nestle.
Because Nestle's evil and trying to buy up everything.
Right, but is it Starbucks? But now my question is like, is it Starbucks company that's being like
honestly
racist now, or is he trying to say that Nestle's the one who's being racist?
You gotta go Google Nestle. That's a conversation that'll just take too long. Google Nestle and understand what they are, and then the line will maybe seem a little nicer to you. Nestle's evil as fuck. Ask anybody in California. Then that third verse, he kind of walks you through his folly over life. So he walks you through buying all his houses at the different phases of his life and how he went from this greedy, wealthy guy into almost aspiring to be surrounded by the poor or the roots of where he came from. Because in the greedy wealthiness, he lost his inspiration, and he found as he got older that he doesn't want to look rich anymore. He wants to look poor because that's almost what you should be doing in a sense, not being so materialistic. I gave this track a 5. This is one. Of all the Kanye albums, this is better than Kids See Ghosts. This is the best song of all the projects so far. All 4 of them, of the 28 of the tracks. This is number 1 to me. This song is so beautiful. It's so amazing. It made me wish there were more long songs on these projects.
I gave the song a 4.5, only really because of my own ignorance to it. I didn't understand a lot of the density for me in the track. But the song overall is fucking amazing. Like everything from production to structure to the way that the words were said, the way that Nas came in and presented it, the flips in the beat on different verses, the way that when he's referencing specific events that happened recently, there's a certain sound that kind of clicks with you, that it gets emphasized and amplified to make sure you remember this and go look at it. They're so far they're doing a really good job at captivating for me at least, the listener in trying to really dig deep into what's going on. It was great.
Cool. Let's talk about Adam and Eve.
Adam and Eve, Adam and Eve.
This beat is just like, I want to be Escobar. And that's what I feel about this beat. I did not like it. It samples Kurush Yagmari's 1974 track Goleak. I don't know.
What's the sin?
That's the song that it got sampled for this. The sin is sloth, so laziness or your lack of desire to do anything. I don't like the beat. but I like the songs. The Ghetto Othello, he feels like he relates to the character of Othello. Oh my God, they speak venomous on the boy. Oh my Lord, my enemy is fear and I'm sure. Oh my God, I want the enemy because I'm pure. Oh my Lord, discipline the win, I just go for it. It's just a trend for these men to die on their own sword, you know? And then you get the sense that, like, everyone's hating on him and shit, but he's pointing out that all these people kind of, like, in their own way, take themselves out and don't give themselves the opportunity to prosper and be what they're supposed to be. I'm okay with the chorus. Adam and Eve, don't fall too far from the apple tree, and that's the dream. He sounds fine. It's not as good as the last song, but it's still good. Part of what this song is kind of pointing out, that through your family, you can get a better sense of your vices and who you are, and if you're willing to be open and honest and receptive to it. That's part of it, like, cause he talks on a lot of random shits.
That's like where I'm trying to figure out. Like, I don't know the sin sloth per se.
It's just laziness and apathy. So let's say, like, when you spend 20 on a bad bitch, and I already know a new girl every night, 2 girls every other night, sexual addiction, gangster tradition, they want to fuck me, have me under their belt, slightly offended. Yeah, that's how I felt. That's how it ended. I'm just good at existing, and etc. So if you just take a look at that, right? Sloth would be like being lazy, not doing the productive things you're supposed to be doing. So you take it from the mindset of a young rapper. You grind, you're poor, you work all the time, you drop Illmatic. And now you're rich. Now your whole life's changed. You know, you're more inclined to maybe go away sometimes, banging some girls, engaging in lazier and less
activities that are
productive
not pushing
and
you
proficient.
Towards your goal or your dream or your success.
That's it. So if you're busy chasing girls, you're not chasing your dreams.
But then I have a question, and I might have taken this out of context, but Nas goes in verse 3, all this money to get, is it less time? They ain't stopped printing money because they made mine. I learned to stretch time. These are the best times. And I feel like if he was lazy and
he's not being
he's
late.
not okay.
He's kind of pointing out to people, like, I'm so confused. Like, do you think the money just stopped happening? Why y'all acting like there isn't money to be made? Man, my best times in life was on that chase, getting that money, doing that thing.
Well,
what are y'all doing? How are y'all complaining? How y'all not actually out there actively? What, you think the money went away? That's kind of like the tone of how I took that.
Absolutely. I also kind of take it like he's also kind of give us some knowledge in terms of, like, look, if you invest your money and you save, you can create better memories that are timeless.
Yeah, especially with the part where gray hair is there, and as you get older, there's wisdom, so
and
you should be acting smarter.
It's kind of cool because you know how, like, when people say money doesn't bring happiness, it's kind of like I agree that money itself doesn't bring happiness, but money allows you to make memories that bring happiness.
I don't think it's really about that. I think it's opportunity. It's like, how are you going to complain about your circumstances and be jealous of me and my success when you could just go do your own thing and get your own success and not be jealous of me?
Right.
So your sloth and your laziness is what creates the haterism in you. But I don't really like the beat as much as I like the content of the song, so I give it a 4.25.
Nice. I enjoyed the song. I like the Escobar feel to it. I like the mafioso feel to it. The line I quoted was really the only real line I enjoyed out of the song. It's weird because I kind of took the Adam and Eve chorus as, like, we're all the same, we're all equal. Like, we all came from Adam and Eve, but nobody, like, they don't fall far from the tree, so they're both kind of similar. So no matter what, you're not as better as someone else is. Like, you have to remember that you both came from A.
But I think it's more that you can look at your history and see what's already there and gain
right. No,
some
I agree.
insight.
After you explained it, I completely agree.
Okay.
It's just like my first initial thought when I heard the chorus, I was like, is he trying to say, like, men and women are the same, or, like, just everybody are equal over the board?
No.
Right?
To
but
me.
I gave it a 4.5.
All right, there's one left, and we're going to talk about the simple things.
Like every song on the top 40, I'm not for you, you not for me, you bore me.
I don't like this beat. Again, I like it less than the last one. I realized after listening to this song like 4 times in a row because I couldn't fucking remember it. Like, there's so little in here that makes me want to really go back to listen to it. Envy is this time, so the desiring and lusting of what other people have would be the sin here. I'm looking in longevity's eyes. I play with infinity's mind. Forever's my guy. My pedigree above your ass. You'll never see. I love the past, but see where I'm going to get to fly. Never sold a record for the beat. It's my verses they purchase. This is the one we was talking about how he needs a rapper. Yeah, because he's like, oh, I don't know how to pick beats proper. Maybe they all like my rhymes. They don't really care as much about my beats.
I feel like he's trying to allude to this fact that like people are envious of him.
Well,
in a sense, because I feel like he's just boasting and bawling throughout the entire track.
Well, I feel like a little bit of this first part's kind of like, I need Kanye because I need better beats, but to me it doesn't matter because everyone's trying to be top 40, and I never cared about trying to top 40. I'm trying to drop dope lyrics, and that's what my fans like, but blah, blah, blah. I'm not for you, and you're not for me. You bore me. So I drop lines prestigious schools read to their children. Look at my album plaque. Somebody agrees with the music.
But hold on, like, if we go back to a line where he goes, like the first part where he's like, I'm looking in longevity's eyes, I play with infinity's mind, forever's my guy, pedigree, right?
He's saying his legacy's forever.
Right. I feel like that's also like he's trying to be a goat, like Biggie, Pac, and all these other people.
Yeah.
So he envies that he might not be a goat?
No, other people envy him.
Okay.
I mean, he's trying to justify, I'm the fucking greatest here. Everybody, you might not like. I've heard some criticism of his beat selection. I even saw somebody's comment on Twitter. Well, it wouldn't be a Nas album without at least one bad beat. We'll see. And so, like, I feel like he's just trying to address the fact that, like, he's a lyrical guy and he doesn't care about top 40 trends. All you know is my kid's mother, some celebrities. Damn, look at the jealousy. Lucky me. I meet some beauties and make you want to shoot me. Hate to brag, but anyway, I'm just like, fine, whatever. Not Kanye, whatever, Nas. I don't know. I just didn't really feel this one. I did like the second part of this track. The rolling dice, throw no aces with my gangsters. We discussing buying acres.
I like that flow.
Because they're kind of like saying we're not like really, you know, done. We're done with the gambling. Now we're talking about like more mature things, other safe bets, nothing regular or basic. So we're not doing the regular stuff. We're trying to find like secure, safe, and proper and responsible ways to do it.
You know what's funny? I love how he, like we were mentioning earlier, how he's like, I don't care about top 40 trends, yet the second verse is a trap flow.
I mean, sure. I don't know about that.
It's completely. It's the only verse that I heard on this album that's completely any other flow than how he keeps it tight and how he does it. This is more like your modern trappier flow. The way he kind of cuts certain words and stuff like that. I was just like, is he trying to showing like he can also dabble in this as well, but he doesn't need to?
Maybe. I didn't really find it overly trappy. I did find it maybe a little more rhythmic, but whatever. I don't know. I like the way he ends it. Now the world knows us. Everybody's seeing my humility's infectious. I just want my kids to have the same peace I'm blessed with. That's cool. He just wants his kids to feel like the same freedom, I guess, that was expressed on the previous album we talked about tonight. And I like the fact that right before that he references that because of him and some others, we all know where Queensbridge is, which is true. I don't think I'd know what a Queensbridge is without a Nas or a Mobb Deep. But I didn't like this song. This was not that good to me. It just ends abruptly. It just ends. It's a 3.75. I was confused by this, man. We already had some bangers with fucking everything. This is just not like the same thing. It's not the same quality of song.
The way that you ended, the way that you just expressed how you felt when it ended, like it just ends. That was me when it first ended. I was like, wait, that's it? No more Nas? Just drop, solo, stop? Okay. I gave the song a 4. I found it to be a little bit funny because it sounds like a very simple song. Like the beat's not that intense, the lyrics aren't that intense. The whole song just sounds very simple, very just kind of like la-di-da-di-da. We're just gonna put this here at the end. But at the same time, it does have a nice little wrap up to the end of the album. I landed it with a 4.
Yeah, I guess that's that for this second little wrap up for this project. I give it a 4.43. Of the 4 albums that we've talked about related to this Kanye thing, this is, as an album, my least favorite one based on grades. In order, it would be Daytona. It's fucking great. There was nothing on Daytona I didn't really like. Then it would be the Kid See Ghost Project, Cool Flow. Then it would be Yay. And then it would be this one. Mostly because the other 3 were a little more consistent. And then this Nas one had that last song I didn't like, as you just heard. And one song you don't like on a 7-track album is enough to hurt a grade like that. That's all I'm trying to say. But otherwise, it was concise. It was some deep stuff. I feel like you got a little bit of the multiple sides of Nas. The more mafioso, flary side. The more lyrical, deep side. And you got the cool concept with the 7 Deadly Sins. But, like, this was just not a full album. Like, I feel like this was the least lived up to the hype of all of the other ones in terms of, like, it felt like you just started to get into the project and it ended. And that just didn't feel right. I mean, we just did the other 2 Nas projects since we started this channel, and those ones felt a lot more complete. Like, even Illmatic felt like at 9 songs or 10 or whatever, 9 songs plus an intro, felt way more complete than this did with 7 tracks, of which a couple were like, eh. Anyway.
Fair. I gave the album a 4.1. I really like the rapping on it. I really like Nas's flow, how he's dropping some crazy ass knowledge, some crazy ass wisdom. Personally, I think I like the way that the projects were set out. Daytona, Yay, Kid See Ghost, and then this one so far, and then the next one to come. I kind of look at it as like a build up in a sense. You've got, for me, the way I kind of see it now, like you got Pusha and Kanye, who are like the hard hitters. I know that Nas is the like godlike, but they're kind of like the hot hitters right now. Nas is kind of like on the back burner.
I think Nas was the big one of this group as far as
Really?
hype was concerned. I don't mean as far as whatever you feel about it, but I think reputation-wise, like, if you're looking at that strategy, there's a reason Nas is the 4th one in a row. I don't think the 5th one was ever going to get the attention. I don't know who the girl is next week, but I feel like this was really the closing. And then this is really the last album, and the next one's there for the people who care, per se. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm still going to check it out, because whatever, but yeah, it's a brilliant rollout strategy. I mean, basically, for the last month, Kanye has taken over, and it's impossible to not hear about him if you care about music. He's making good music, a really, like, wise group in terms of how they have approached this strategy.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. It's been a minute for us. Appreciate you being here with us. It's really incredible that you would stick through this. If you did, if you cut to the end, you're still awesome. Just wanted to give a big shout out to Linda Williams and Mozart, our patrons. They support us in a more direct way. And if you want to help us get better equipment, just grow and get better at what we do, it would be super awesome, because certain parts of this are a little harder to obtain on our own. And if you do join us like that, you get access to the request raffle, where you can throw in some requests and we'll pick one a month from that list randomly, and whatever it is, however obscure or popular the project, or it could be an interview, it could be something else. It could be your project. If you want us to cover your project, that would be a great way to do it. You can also get access to content early and a couple other things, and we're going to flesh that out as time goes on. If you do not want to do that, you can always hit that subscribe button and see more of what we do. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. YouTube loves that. It would help a lot. And then if you can leave a comment too, YouTube loves that. It would help us a lot. And that would be really awesome. And we really appreciate that. And so thank you for being with us. And I hope you have a great week. And we'll be back next week with something else. Peace.